Shout Cynthia out. It's a feeding frenzy, bestie splitting up. You're not a crammer and always y'all sitting duck. Shaking the earth and they quicking your fright. Watch your head, I'm a hammer, we're home in a fight. Leave you looking like left shark, you won't be alright. Catch a whiff of your blood, then I'm taking a bite. With the passive, I'm attacking at superior speeds. Smoke the mist of mine, call that the barrier reef. So invest your coin to strike a tank, no doubt. Just like the chop at the track, and for those reasons I'm out. I'm here, the death must have bought the hype, right? On the mic, OG flying type, I'm nice. Big body boy, but the speed is extreme. When you're not doing too hot, when you get shot with a beam. I'll burst y'all down quick and I'ma make it painless. My skills are nameless. This recent game is an easy to learn and to pick up MOBA. They run Dragon Knight like it's a game of Dota. I got every elemental breath, so in fact, it'll be a not so gentle death that get clapped. The best I've been that, your squad not intact will get the win. That's that Draco impact. Yeah, best mon in this patch. I'm not bragging, I get played every match. They all lag, power up each time I dance. Your boy's wagging, until that dude's Zard, he ain't even the hottest dragon. Way to come on the lip with that shoddy flow. But what it's like to be this powerful, they hardly know. I'm sorry, bro, the chances are gonna be low. They gotta go, I'll get him with a godly blow. Lucario, beast or a Pokemon. When they see me charging up the punch, they know they gone. Attack, waste, stacks, breakbacks, they know me. I'm cracked, they whack, to shout. A steadfast master, just what the team needs. Reset the track after I rap at extreme speeds. If they have it to see me, then battle own them quick. When I'm in a rush, they know I got a bone to pick. Must be in the speeds and way I come with that fast flow. Not a newcomer when I land that media smash, bro. The nerfs keep coming, not doing crap though. Only one mind gets more wins, and that's it though. Hitting glass, all they never's read now. They got chomps, they got jams, put you trumps in the ground. Yeah, their offense is strong, and they defense still sound. How y'all gonna square up when the squad is all round? They that heavy hitting class, all they members renowned. They got chomps, they got jams, put you chumps in the ground. Yeah, their offense is strong, but they defense still sound. How y'all gonna square up when the squad is all round? Check the name, you know they fat, they squishy F in a fight they.
Yeah, look, they said that I couldn't do it, so I went and did it. W's only, you know I've been winning. Top of the world, the globe is spinning. If you know, I've been on a what? Mission. Go. Okay, let's get it. Got a little time on my hands like a wristwatch. I don't got time for the breaks and the pit stop. Race through the gridlock, take it like Chris Rock. Right to the chin, still win. Heavy metals like Slipknot. Got the driving, I got tunnel vision. I just hit my stride the way I run the business. I've been making paper like I'm Dunder Mifflin. See the end game, I got one division. Look, I don't ever bother with a critic. Hit him with a chronicle of Riddick. Boom, bottle full of Ritalin. I hit him with a little bit of riddle me this, riddle me that. My bad, fell asleep at the gas. No time to wait though. Elon Musk, I'm trying to bankroll. New Tesla just cause I say so. Electric whip like Ivan Van Gogh. I just did it. W's only, you know I've been winning. Top of the world, the globe is spinning. If you know, you know.
Welcome everybody to the Pokemon Unite Coronation League. I greatly do appreciate every single one of y'all hanging out and chilling out in the chat. We have some amazing games today, but I'm not going to talk about it. I have two wonderful casters, and they are Dreikusan and Chopper themselves. So thank you guys very much for hanging out and chilling out today. But without further ado, I'm going to let them go ahead and take it over. I'm going to let them go ahead and also literally talk about the games. And I'm going to be sitting in the background getting everything else set up and ready to go. So you guys can go ahead and talk about yourself, introduce yourselves, and let the chat know who you guys are.
Thank you very
How's
much.
it going?
Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead, Draco.
Oh, I'm the guest here. You go ahead. Go ahead and lead the way, Chopper. It's all
Well, I
you.
was-
I'll
yeah,
go.
well, I
I'll
was
follow
just
after
about-
you.
Yeah, I was just about to say, welcome. Thank you so much for the introduction, Rhino. And this is day number 2, starting off playoffs, second gauntlet for the Pokemon Unite World Coronation League. I am Chopper, and joining me today is the great Draco. Draco, go ahead and introduce yourself to the people.
Thank you so much. My name is Dreikusan. I'm a content creator on Twitch. Play a lot of Pokemon Unite. I'm sure you've seen me on Twitter. Maybe some of you have seen some of my streams as well, but I'm also a shoutcaster, putting on tournaments, community events for all of you guys to enjoy. Very excited to be here. And you guys got a fresh new set of eyes on your tournament. So I'm excited to see what these communities and what these teams are going to be bringing to the field today.
And also on Twitter, I saw that you are a top 100 Decidui
Oh my.
in Pokemon Unite. I did my scouting, Draco. I did my scouting, so you don't have to worry about that.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I do have an affinity for the owl main. I have three little rowlets right behind me. But yes, that's honestly my most played character. I love the character, and I've also put on a tournament dedicated to the character as well, and potentially you might be seeing another one in the future.
A little spoiler there by the great Draku, but we're going to go ahead and talk a little bit about the bracket now.
Mhm.
Thankfully, we have Draku here. The first side, we already did round one at the A side. Team Aura Esports falling to EXP's Elite Force in the first round, and then after that, Wasted Potential besting EXP's Elite Force on the second round of Part A before losing to Jungle Griefers, who are already classified into that top four spot for that double elimination bracket. Tonight,
Mhm.
however, we are going to see if either Team Roqueto or Super Squad Squad are actually going to run the gauntlet tonight. Whoever wins in that match will go against hashtag Team Drip, and then the winner of that faces Dark Aura to qualify for that top four double elimination bracket facing against War Legion next week. Now, it should be super interesting now that we have as well Draku here because Team Roqueto in particular is very decidui friendly, if I do say so myself.
Mm.
Cygnus, well, one of the best decidui that we actually have in Puerto Rico. And now Super Squirtle Squad, both them and Team Roqueto, it could be an interesting matchup considering the fact that they actually started off a little slow at the beginning of the season, but actually started racking up a couple of wins to qualify for set playoffs. So it should be an interesting matchup.
I gotta say, these playoffs are gonna be very different than what the competitive scene has seen in the last couple months. You know, we've seen a lot of bans, more specifically because of the bugs that are in the game, like for Delphox or Sableye or Scyther. All of those characters are available, and these players can play them. So some of these players can be really strong, especially with like Delphox and Scyther. And so I'm really excited to see some of these players bring out some of these characters that haven't been seen in the competitive community.
Yeah, as a reminder to everybody around, Zacian and Clefable are the only two Pokemon that are currently banned
Mm.
due to
Mhm.
different bugs and different scenarios. So actually taking one of the best all-rounders, is not the best all-rounder right now in the league, as well as one of the best supporters. It is going to be a little bit challenging when it comes to the draft phase as well, which Draku, if you have seen our streams beforehand, we have a little bit of a different flair when it comes to our draft system.
Yeah, wow. Let's hear about it a little bit. It's just if we have any new audience members here, and for me as well. Let's talk a little bit about our bands and our picks.
Yeah, so pretty much it's going to be a similar style to what we saw at the beginning of League of Legends if you've ever seen it. Right in the screen, we're going to have three bands for each team. And then they slowly start picking whatever Pokemon they are going to choose. It's going to be a similar situation to what we see in draft mode, where you can't repeat the same Pokemon on both
Hmm.
teams. That's pretty much the same draft system, but we actually add four different bands, which means that a lot of the teams that are actually competing in the league are forced to learn new Pokemons as well as different
Yeah.
strategies.
Hmm.
And we're not going to be able to see the everybody picking the same Pokemon either,
Hmm.
right? You can go for
Hmm.
comfort, you can go for different strategies, and different Pokemon start getting a lot more priority in our site.
Yeah, it definitely shows the versatility of some of these players, and obviously this is the playoffs, so a lot of these players are really well rounded, not just in their mains, but at a handful of characters too.
Right, you are, Draku. Now, from the experience that you have casting different tournaments and actually hosting and doing everything that you do in Pokemon Unite, what are you thinking should be the priority picks for the current meta? I have done I've gone through the experience where a lot of healing has been a major factor, this which is why
Hmm.
Delphox in particular is
Yeah.
actually very important for
Hmm.
whatever you want for counter meta.
I agree as well. You know, I think the meta right now is very centric towards healing and towards CC. So I think the first picks are definitely going to be characters like Hoopa or Comfey or Blissey. Those are definitely going to be the first um, characters to be picked. I think for the bans, though, I think this game right now, the meta right now, is very centric around objective base. So we might be seeing some Urshifu bans. Dodrio is also just a very difficult character to deal with, but with all the CC going around, I don't know. No, it's hard to say what's going to be going. But with the additional four bans, I think it just makes this really interesting in terms of the team compositions.
Actually going for different attackers this time around, we saw Espeon actually getting quite a surmountable amount of changes and buffs, making it one of the best attackers that we have right now. Trevenant as well, receiving some major buffs to the Woodhammer in particular.
Mhm.
So defenders eating very well, supports
Mhm.
same scenario. Speedsters falling maybe a little behind in that stage. The only one being
Yeah.
actually kind of prevalent would be
You see this like
Dodrio.
really like interesting interaction between the different roles in the characters. Obviously, like when strong, some of the squishier characters are really struggling, but when the meta is more centric towards healing and towards bulkiness, a lot of those speedsters and are not really able to stand out. Right now, Dojo is really, and maybe Zorak, maybe me be the most efficient in terms of the speedsters, but all the other speedsters are not really seeing a whole lot of play as of now.
Yeah, the only change that Soto actually got was actually nerfing a little bit of that early game and then just making it a little stronger on the late game, which actually works out for the character, especially when you're trying to go for those types of compositions. But again, the speedsters are pretty much struggling a little bit, especially with the meta that you mentioned before, Draku, right? A lot of healing, a lot of sustain, and a lot of extended team fights. It's a lot more difficult for you to
Mhm.
actually get those burst options available. So hyper carries and other
Yeah.
special attackers actually take a lot more priority.
hmm But on that same note, these types of interactions, it allows like some of these characters that like to sit behind tanks, so like the Sidgewai, Gardevoir, Delphox, Mew, for example. Those are also really high pick rate characters at the moment, just because they like to sit behind characters that can stay on the field for a very long amount of time. So if you have things like Trevenant or Snorlax or Mamoswine, with a healer on your team, it just makes those characters stand out a lot more on the ruins.
Giving it a lot more priority when it comes to actually having a solid front line.
hmm
And again, we do see that a lot of characters actually have a main category that they go for, be it attacker or defender. But most of these Pokemon now are actually starting to flip flop between them. We see somebody like Blastoise that can be classified as a defender, but actually goes into the more all rounder side, depending on the build, especially if you're running Rapid Spin Water Spout.
Yeah, I agree as well. I've personally been running a lot of Rapid Spin Water Spout in the jungle, actually, because I
Yes.
know there's a lot of Espeons and a lot of Gardevoirs. While they can do a lot of really quick burst damage, they don't have a whole lot of mobility. So there are some characters that definitely wear multiple hats, if you may say. Not just Dodrio, but definitely multiple hats in the role category.
And Dojo, it depends on the skin too. We saw the Christmas skin actually having a
hmm
couple of three hats and then a single one depending on the skin, but we're not going to get into those details. We're just about to start off the matches tonight. Team Rocket and Super Squad are just about to get ready onto the draft phase. And before we continue on, Draku, I really want to know, who do you consider to be overrated and underrated in the world of Pokemon Unite?
Overrated. Hmm.
Hmm.
Overrated. I feel like there's just so many picks. Right, I'm gonna start with the underrated right now. I think the
Okay.
underrated right now is Hoopa. I think Hoopa, especially in competitive fives, is such a good character. We know how strong the character was, especially on Remote Stadium. It was definitely the one of the most picked, if not the most picked supporter in the game at the moment. So I think that one is definitely gonna be my under. In terms of my over, I'm gonna go back to like what I was a little bit what I was saying before. I think with the buffs to Trevenant, I think Dodrio is a really tough
Ooh.
character to play at the moment, just because it has that ability to CC really well with that wood hammer. And if you're able to get the first hit and the second hit in succession, that's just a lot of CC in Dodrio. If you're running a full heal, obviously you're going to get it back after about 50 seconds, but that wood hammer plus additional CC from other characters on the field just makes it a lot more difficult for that character to function.
Interesting picks by the side of Draku, and I do agree with you. Dodrio and any type of speedster right now, it's just so difficult to actually make it relevant enough. Just because you need a solid early game, but because of the conditions of Thea Sky Ruins and actually going into that last Rayquaza fight right towards the end, most of the stuff that you're gonna actually want to go for is gonna be late game compositions. That's why we see
hmm
T-Tar actually getting a lot of
hmm
great. And once you hit that level 14, level 15, it's probably
hmm
the best character in the game right now.
Yeah.
You pair it up with a Blissey or a Comfey, it's a lot more. It's a lot easier for you to just play all around and get onto those team fights to secure that main objective.
hmm hmm I'm glad that you said Comfey, because Comfey right now is in a really interesting spot, right? It's a little bit polarizing just because I know a lot of us are dealing with Comfey plus a very overtuned character in ranked at the moment right now. But in the competitive scene, it's really interesting because it's one of the highest pick support characters with one of the lowest win rates in terms of speaking about what's going on at UCS at the moment right now. So I'm curious to see if that's going to be a top pick here. Obviously, there's going to be a lot of bans with the additional 4, so Comfy might be seeing a lot more mileage, or just might be seeing bans all around.
Yeah, especially since I was actually a participant in the tournament as well from EXP's Elite Four side. The first bans that we actually had were Comfey and Trevenant every single time because there's just Pokemon
Mm.
that we do not want to deal with, right?
Mhm.
Since Zacian is not, it's currently banned right now. We don't have to
Yeah.
worry about that particular Pokemon. And then
Mhm.
Clefable was actually one of our mainstays in getting that Moonlight healing, and with the
Mhm.
buffs that it received a couple of weeks, if not months ago, it actually gave us a lot of tools to actually work around, right? But Comfey is actually a very interesting Pokemon at the fact that once you end the game, it doesn't really reflect how impactful the Pokemon is in the sense that once you see
Right.
the healing type of points, it's usually around the lines of an 80,000, 90,000. When you can
Mhm.
sometimes see supports actually go into the 150,000 range if you
Mhm.
have a really solid game. But you have
Mhm.
to always keep in mind those 74,000 points that you have in healing go directly onto a main target that you
Yeah.
pretty much
Right.
cannot take out.
Mhm. Right. And with the characters like Clefable or Blister, you're also doing self healing as well. So you're
Mm.
basically just multiplying that by 2. If obviously you're going to be able to hit that target with your targeted healing.
Yeah, it's going to be super important to see what type of priorities we are going to see from the different teams right now. And Team Rocket, the Super Squirtle Squad, like I mentioned beforehand, a little bit of a story of falling off right at the early stages of the league and then
Mhm.
finding a really solid rhythm to
Mhm.
actually being,
Mhm.
in contention to go further onto that top 4 double elimination bracket, which is what every team wants right now, right? Sitting
Mhm.
comfortably in that top 4 is going to be War Legion on the B side. If we could take a look at that bracket one more time. So
Mhm.
what interesting was that actually Rhino and I had a little bit of a discussion as to the playoff format, and this is similar to what we can see. For example, if you play League of Legends, it's going to be the LPL system. They go on to the gauntlet stages before getting onto the top 4 double elimination. Now, Ikigai no Tsurugi pretty much a tier above a lot of the teams as well as War Legions.
Mhm.
That's why they actually qualified directly
Mhm.
onto that round 4. And Jungle Griefers, they're no slouches as well, actually being pretty dominant in the win versus wasted potential yesterday. But the team, at least from the B side, is
Mhm.
it's going to be a pretty challenging bracket because all of the teams, specifically hashtag Team Drip and Dark Aura, are in the higher half of the standings right
Mhm.
now in their respective divisions. Now, Team
Mhm.
Roqueto and Super Squirtle Squad really have a lot of work cut out for them.
Mhm. Everyone loves a comeback story. So if Team Roketo and Super Squirrel Squad are able to pull it together and get the growth that they've been going through throughout the entire season, that's honestly, as a caster and as an audience member or a viewer, that's something I would rather see.
And with that being said, thank you so much for Reiku being here one more time. We are getting started with the pick and ban phase. So Super
Oh,
Squirtle Squad and Team Roqueto, starting off with 3 bans now. Urshifu, Blissey, and Comfey are all going to be banned.
yeah, starting off right away here, Urshifu, one of the best secures in the game with that wicked blow, and also, I mean, the surging strikes Urshifu is just really tough to deal with in the early game once they get one of the best level 5 power spikes in the game, and obviously supports just really strong options here. But honestly, looking at these two, if you're gonna ban Blissey and you're gonna ban Comfey and Clefable is automatically banned, what's left
Yeah,
except for like self-sustain?
the supports are going to be starting to get a lot more pinch. We do have Hoopa still available. They
That's
actually
right.
opt to go for that Blastoise pick, and they're going to go for the first pick, and they go for Dodrio. So one of the quote unquote overrated Pokemon from Reiku that they mentioned beforehand. However, because of our banning system and because we don't have that many supports that could actually have that healing, I could see them actually running Dodrio pretty solidly.
Yeah. Let's see what Super Squirrel Squad decides to pick here. I think a defender is most likely going to be picked here. Maybe Snow. Ah, there it is, the slow bro. took it right out of my mouth there. Slowbro, obviously a really strong character to just shut down any sort of carries on the field. And then there's a Hoopa as well. So really the only form of primary healing that's going to be on the field is going to be that Hoopa. So these are two really strong picks on the side of Super Squirtle Squad.
Got to get those hyperspace portals working, especially for
Yeah.
those extended team fights. And Slowbro as well, got to be one of those defenders that could really sustain and just drag things out. Now, Team Roqueto still have an opportunity to pick either Mr. Mime as a support, or they also have another one, but they're going to go for the Trevenant as a defender. Pretty solid back line and front line, rather, on their side as we wait for their final pick before Super Squirtle Squad gets their third, and we move on to the next phase of the final bans.
Yeah, I think Mr. Mime obviously is another really strong supporter. Has the option of being really disruptive. Oh, we're going for the Espeon here. So it looks like that Espeon Trevenant shell once again is going to be showing off its might here in the first round. I think here for Super Squirrel Squad, most likely going to be going with some sort of hyper carry because they did go for the defender and the supporter. Maybe even like a range character like Delphox or Gardevoir is probably going to be picked here. That's my guess.
Yeah, I agree. This is definitely a spot for you to pick either Delphox or Gardevoir before actually stepping onto the third and final ban for the respective teams, especially if you want to try to eliminate as many attackers as possible. Now, Aspeon is actually curious that they actually fall for that third pick because at least from yesterday we saw Aspeon either first pick or first ban. So pretty curious on the side of both teams to actually make it fall off of the list of priority.
Yeah, taking a lot of time here to select this next character. Let's see what they decide to go with. Yeah,
And
I
attacker
think.
first and foremost should be something
Mhm,
that they could go for, like you mentioned, right? But we still have hyper carries available. The Sejuai
mhm.
is still on the board. Cinderace is still on the board. Something along those lines.
Ah,
But
there
they
it
opt
is.
for the Gardevoir, just like you mentioned.
Mhm. All right, so now we're going to be going to the bands here. So obviously, we've already selected four bands. Pretty obvious picks. I think the Blastoise one is a kind of an interesting pick that's not banned as often, but at least with this format here, having the option of four bands, you might get some of these tankier, quote unquote, all rounders to get banned too. So let's see what they decide to go with. Remind me once again, this is going to be a dual ban, right? So this is not going to be. Um,
Yeah, Super
they're
Squirtle Squad bans here, and then Team Roqueto goes for the last ban before Super Squirtle Squad actually
okay,
picks their
okay.
fourth, and then Team Roqueto gets their two picks completely, and then the final pick will still go to Super Squirtle Squad.
Yeah.
Now, about the Blastoise, it's pretty much a target ban, and because we actually had a regular season for 10 weeks or so, and Super Squirtle Squad really likes to run that Blastoise, and in particular, I really like that ban as well because if you're actually gonna go for those for that backline that doesn't have that much mobility, and Blastoise is definitely a nuisance. We are seeing the Dragapult
Oh.
actually banned by the side of Super Squad Squad, which I consider to be another target ban to Team Roqueto.
Oh, is that a target ban on a specific player that might be really strong with the Dragapult build or
Yeah,
Dragapult?
it's one of those comps that they really like to go for, but that also means that Team Roqueta would still have their Decidueye available, which is one of Cygnus signature Pokemon first and
Mhm.
foremost. We're still waiting for that final ban on Team Roqueto's side though, so they could go for something that's still available right now, and they opt for to
Cinderace.
actually ban the Cinderace.
Hmm. Yeah, definitely really strong secures being banned on the side of Roketa with the Dark Urshifu, which also with the Unite move from the Cinder. I mean, looking at the two teams, the first three picks so far, there isn't a whole lot of many characters that have really good confirmation. I think the only one here is maybe the Psybeam Psyshock Espeon. So we might be seeing. I hope to see a Decidueye coming out here, but potentially a Mew is going to be coming out here too. Let's see what they pick. See, Eldegoss is also another really strong option for healing as well. So yeah, definitely gonna need some healing on that side of the field as well for their Trevenant to stay alive for as long as it should.
Yeah, we're gonna need another all-rounder, somebody that actually could do some more damage, but they opt for the Mr. Mime, so a double support comp from the side of Team Roqueto. It kind of feels like they're putting a lot of responsibility of the damage to Espeon and Dodrio
I agree.
specifically.
Yeah, hmm I agree as well. So I mean, uh, if I'm looking specifically to counterpick what Team Roketo is doing right now, I think maybe a Charizard. That's
Gonna get those single targets.
Yeah, that's going to be a really interesting pick. Charizard right now just isn't a very strong character in terms of its toolkit at the moment with the nerf to its true damage that it no longer gets anymore. It's really struggling in the damage department. So
Hmm.
I think the big thing that the Charizard is going to need to worry about is one, making sure that Espeon doesn't have its passive up to remove that first wave of CC, and being really selective with its targeting as well. I mean, you really want to hit that Dojo, and you really want to hit that Espeon, maybe the Eldegoss too, but definitely don't want to hit the Trevenant or the Mr. Mime because that's really not going to do much.
Yeah, a lot of the crowd control is going to go directly towards the Gardevoir too. We are seeing that Team Rocket is actually opting to go a lot more on the tankier side, and Super Squirtle Squad really likes to deal that damage. In
Mhm.
regards to the compositions themselves, I really like what Super Squirtle Squad is doing. However, because like you mentioned beforehand, there's a lot of priority when it comes to actually getting to secure those objectives, and it's going to be pivotal for them to actually get those rotations on deck if you have that Hoopa actually running Hyperspace Portal. Itemization part of game number 1. Now Cocodrilo just is running the Mr. Mime Mordu with the Espeon Sickness, with the Eldegoss El Boti with Dodrio. And on the other side we have Saucy on the Greninja, JV Smooth on the Charizard, Too Fun to Kill on the Slowbro, Lechonk TV on the Hoopa, and Rainax with the Guardy.
Yeah, just to orient our viewers right now, we do have the Super Squirtle Squad on purple side on the left side of the map, and then Team Roketo is going to be on the orange side on the right side of the map. Looks like we're going to be getting underway with the first game very soon. I hope you guys are ready for the first game of the night, guys.
Really exciting stuff, and even better because we do have Reiku right here with some commentary sauce. Let's see if Saucy can do their work for this first game. Now remember, this is the gauntlet stage. If you lose here, you go home. Just as we see the loading screens, very nice skins overall. And like I mentioned before, Reiku Dodrio does not have 3 hats, just the one in the middle.
Ah, it's just a missed opportunity. A missed opportunity. Definitely, if you want to win all 3 games, you got to have all the hats here. As we get underway here, it looks like they're going to go ahead and send the Greninja into the jungle for the left side, and the Dodrio, obviously one of the strongest level 5 power spikes in the game once they're able to get that. No jungle invades, and obviously it looks like we have the Eldegoss and the Trevenant up in the top lane going against the Ralts. And the can't see who's up there as well. I think that is the Slowpoke next to it as well. So if they're able to get that level 5 power spike, just another really strong character in the early game.
Yeah, a lot of priority and a lot of standard laning from the side of both teams. First goal is actually going to go to actually get that Trevenant to stack up as much as possible, securing the levels and just making sure that they can continue on. That's 2 stacks already onto the tree as he's forced to run away.
Phantom making its way back home here, sitting at about half health as we make our way down to the bottom lane, going over to this Indeedee. It looks like that went over to the Psyshock on that Espeon. Here comes the jungler as well. It looks like the Greninja is heading down to the bottom lane. The Dodrio is just a little bit late on its rotations here. Let's see where they decide to go to. They're starting to apply some pressure here onto the first tier goal. We do have an early evolution here, obviously, with the help of that XP share with the Eldegoss.
Yeah, Trevenant's going to be a nuisance, especially when it comes to this types of objectives. Altarius and Swablu's are going to be battled, and deaths like that, first blood on the top side.
Yeah, boosted auto coming out of the Dodrio. It does have 1 hat, so able to get the 2 characters up in the top lane here, and potentially a couple of stacks for themselves. Grabs a second stack for themselves. Here comes the Drill Peck. The Hoopa is actually going to send the Charmander. Charmander up to the top lane. I don't know how much that's going to help, as the orange side completely wipes the top lane.
Yeah, 60 points already on the board by Team Rocket. The Hyperspace Portal going down from the Hoopa just in case they need some assistance in the rotations. But Team Rocket are really trying to force their level up advantages and just being as aggressive as possible.
Yeah, definitely pushing the tempo here. 67 on the side of Team Roketo. Obviously, these are mostly just stacks at this point here. We do have the Swablu spawning in the middle. There's a small engagement up at the top lane. Right now, the Ralts is struggling to get that level 5 evolution here as Team Roketo is able to get most of the blues here in the middle. Dodrio is going to go ahead and push them off. Still, Ralts is struggling to get that level 5 advantage, and Team Roketo with the Trevenant 2 eliminations for themselves, including the Ralts.
Yeah, Cocodrilo is really showing us stuff with the tree as we go on to another team fight, possibly right in the bottom side.
All Mr. Mime right now sitting on a Pixels, not able to make it home. Dodrio sitting at about 10% right now. They're going to go ahead and put that future sight on the Greninja. Not going to decide to go home here as the Blues spawn in the next couple seconds here. Is fighting over this Indeedee. I think that went over to the right side here. Here comes the Indies once again. Looks like both teams right now are starting to navigate their way down to the bottom as the Greninja right now is able to make it back home. Can they make it back home? Yeah, looks like the future sight wasn't able to get the KO there. While this was all going on, they were able to break that top tier 1 goal, potentially applying some pressure if they get the Regieleki in the next few minutes.
Yeah, all the rotations, however, are going to be the 5-man stacks. Both of them trying to go for this objective. The Regice going to come out. Everybody going to go into the team fight. Let's hear some Reiku action.
Yeah, right now it looks like the blue side is really struggling on the health right now. Here comes the Unite move coming out of the Dojo, able to pick up 2 KOs for themselves. Here comes the Unite move from the Trevenant as well. 3 KOs going in the way of the Dojo, going to grab a stack for themselves, and looks like they have really strong positioning here on the bottom line. The only one that's left here is the Slowbro, trying to stay alive for the rest of their team. Looks like the rest of the team is going to go ahead and abandon the Slowbro and give the Regi Ice to the Team Riketto.
You got to force those team fights first before securing those objectives, and that's exactly what they do. Mordu securing that Regice before going onto that overdunk as the rotation is set up by Super Squirtle Squads to at least get that consolation Regieleki.
Obviously, this is a lot of pressure going in the bottom lane as well. As soon as they break that bottom tier 1, they're going to go and apply some pressure onto the tier 2. If they break this tier 1 in the top lane, obviously, I think that's going to be in advantage of Team Riketto anyway, because they're going to get access to the 3 comeback, not even comeback Indeedees at this point.
Yeah, as soon as you destroy that zone, it just gives them that extra experience to continue to force up that same advantage. We have a Jojo in level 11, which is pretty much 2 levels ahead of everybody else in the Super Squirtle Squad side. Trevenant is also level 10. Cocodrilo really showing his work onto that tree Pokemon. And now we're seeing a little bit of a rotation going right on down the bottom side, maybe trying to force the issue here as calls are going to come out and trying to force their way onto the tree.
Yeah, I think right now they're just going to go and start poking at each other. There's no objectives on the map. I'd be surprised if there was a huge engagement here. It looks like right now Squirrel Squad is going to go ahead and retreat to their side of the map. But look at their side, though. They have nothing to farm at the moment here. They're just trying to find anything they can to get themselves back into this game. Dojo right now hitting at level 12 now, almost able to get the increased cooldown reduction at level 13. Same thing with the Trevenant, highest on the field, at least for the defender side.
So trying to go for a little bit of an engage now. Charizard moving in, Unite move coming down, trying to do whatever they can, and Unite move coming in from Justice as well. That's a takedown right there.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw what happened there, but the Charizard in the middle of the Unite move was actually sent back home through the Hoopa. I don't know if that was purposeful or not. The Mr. Mime is not able to make its way back home here. 3 eliminations on the side of Team Squirrel Squad. Hoopa does have access to Unite move here, but they're at the base of the moment. Here comes the Unite move once again, coming out of the Trevenant as the Southern Regi spawns in the basement. Here comes a big Regi steal. This is going to be huge for the team for the next 90 seconds or until they're KO'd again.
Total of 60% experience. That would be 1 Regieleki goes to every single member. El Boti just making shambles out of the Greninja as they continue to stack on the bottom side. Now, another rotation by Super Squirtle Squad to get that Regieleki.
Yeah, once again, the Super Squirrel Squad is going to be able to get this Regieleki without any contention here in the top lane. They're going to try to apply some pressure here. They do not have any access to Unite moves, but they do have a lot of farm on their side of the map. Let's see what they decide to do here. The Espeon, I think, was able to grab maybe the blue buff away from the left side, and it looks like, yeah, they're just going to go ahead and try to farm as much as they can, try to remove some of this experience from the field.
Once again, 2 level differential from the side of the Dodrio as well. That's a level 13, but with what cost? That's a huge pickup by Super Squirtle Squad.
Yeah, tons of experience going over to the left side there. A couple of characters that you want to watch here. Obviously, the Dojo hitting that level 13 benchmark, getting access to increased cooldown reduction on all of its moves. A character I want to see get some increased cooldown reduction as well is going to be the Gardevoir on the left side as Super Squirrel Squad tries to apply some pressure here. He gets a lot of KOs as well. The Dojo is still down for a huge 50. I think that's if my math is correct here, a 27 over in the bottom lane. So scores are starting to come together here. 210 Squirrel Squad to 294 in favor of Team Riketto. We do have 1 more minute left for the Rayquaza and level 14 Dodrio. Oh my gosh, I was saying it was a overstated character. I should just I should just not.
Well, if you are you have been casting a lot of draft mode competition, but this is a different game in the United World
I
Coronation
agree.
League. So a lot of supports that give you that type of sustain and a lot of healing are pretty much just not going to be existent, and it gives an opportunity for a speedster like Dojo to actually start dominating the team. With that said, a lot of good picks from Super Squirtle Squad side with the Greninja that's already level 13, as well as the Gardevoir.
Yeah, those are definitely the two characters that they need to rely on. They're the Greninja having access now to the quicker autos and for the increased cooldown. Oh, here comes the catch on the onto the Dojo. Are they going to be able to make it out here? The Dojo sitting at about 4%. Unless big Unite move coming from both teams right now. The Hoopa is unbound. Here comes the Showtime coming from the Mr. Mime. Espeon goes down for the right side. Greninja is also down as well. Here comes the Unite move from the Charizard, spitting out the flames. 2 KOs going over to the Gardevoir. Can they get some more here? Both teams right now are just ignoring the Rayquaza and fighting over this positioning. Right now,
You gotta make sure to get those team fights on deck before doing anything else. Right now, actually trying to move and rip that Rayquaza apart. Eldegoss doing whatever it can to actually disturb the Gardevoir, but to no avail. Dodra using the Unite move, and it's gonna be a secure for Super Squirtle Squad. After the domination of the early game by Team Roqueto, it seems like Super Squirtle Squad is getting game 1.
Yeah, Super Squirrel Squad able to get the bubble, the Rayquaza buff for themselves. We're going to go ahead and start marching down to the goal zones here. On the 100 should start coming down here. Big KO going into the Gardevoir with that buff, as well as 100 going in for the Charizard. And the Gardevoir, I don't think they're going to be able to make it to the goal zone here, but it looks like the Hoopa is going to drop a huge 96 and a 98 coming from this differential that they have to climb.
And this is exactly why the late game is so important in this game. Now they do manage to get a constellation prize of the Greninja, trying to move forward, and now getting some calls to force the retreat. Just try to defend the last 2 zones that they have available. It's a 294 to 610 differential with 25 seconds left on the board. Most of the team from the side of Team Roqueto doesn't have enough points, however, so it is pretty difficult.
Yeah, their pockets are empty at this moment here. I think the most they have right now is going to be Mine Hoopa is going to go ahead and use that unbound once again to just defend their main to a goal. Here goes, I think that's 32 going to the main. I don't think that's going to be enough regularity coming out of the Gardevoir. So we'll go ahead and shut the door on Team Roqueto for the first game.
Yeah, after the domination at the beginning of the early game from the side of Team Roqueto, Super Squirtle Squad really had some very clutch moments and clutch picks. Starting with that Slowbro telekinesis with Toon Fun to Kill. It pretty much stunned some of the carries from the side of Team Roqueto, and they really navigated towards making set comebacks. After being in such a disadvantage at the beginning of the game, we do see Saucy, JV Smooth, and Raynax with level 15s all around.
Honestly, I think that telekinesis onto the Dojo was literally just the play of the game. It was literally just the play of the game. The Dojo has been putting in some work with its one hat the entire game, but maybe just getting too much vision for its side of the field and getting caught out by the telekinesis. You know, it wasn't KO'd, but it did take the Dojo out for a solid 10 to 15 seconds as it made its way back to home and then back out onto the field.
A little bit of a redemption as well from Super Squirtle Squad side, considering JV Smooth actually got sucked into the hyperspace portal when the Unite move was coming out, but I'm pretty sure was not intended towards them. But again, clutching it out from Too Fun to Kill, I think definitely the player of the game in my opinion, just because those telekinesis actually got the picks to get the team going in regards to leveling up as fast as possible, or try to keep it as even once you get into those Rayquaza team fights.
I agree as well. Raynix putting on a clinic with their Gardevoir, 90k damage going over in their way as well. But, you know, damage and numbers don't tell the whole story, and I have to agree with you. Slowbro might be my player of the game for that one.
Too Fun to Kill showing out and showing up in this first game for Super Squirtle Squad. Now, do keep in mind, they have one more game and they go on to the next round of the gauntlet, and what would appear to be actually a little bit of an upset considering the standings that they're currently in. Team Rocket was actually placed higher than Super Squirtle Squad. Super Squirtle Squad actually being the last team to qualify for playoffs after a victory versus Magikarp Clan in the regular season. So they have an opportunity to actually get momentum going, which is why this gauntlet stage is so fun and exciting for us as viewers and casters, not so much for the competitors.
Alright, so going into this next game here, I mean, thinking about some sort of adjustments to make, I think Obviously, Team Raketo was very dominant for the first 8 minutes of the game. I don't think they need to change anything necessarily. Obviously, going into the pick ban phase, there's obviously going to be some changes and some adjustments. But in terms of their strategy, I think they executed it really well. I think they just fell off a little bit for the last minute or so.
Yeah, just a little bit of polish from the side of Team Roqueto and not to overextend in those team fights. Just try to stay not so grouped together, but actually have that coordination towards the end of those fights. It seems like Super Squirtle Squad really likes to be very scrappy when it comes to actually getting those team fights in. And that's something that they drive, right? And they thrive on that chaos. So it's up to Team Roqueto to stay disciplined enough to take the advantage of whatever lead they get at the beginning of the game.
Slowbro, obviously, just a very strong pick across the board. In my experience, at least in the ranked, going up against all these comfy and Zashians, Slowbro literally is the superhero at the end of the day. You could be losing the first 8 minutes of the game, just getting absolutely wiped by the carries from the other team. One Slowbro Unite move, and you can just forget all about it.
Adaptations are going to start coming in for game 2 already. So we're going into the second pick and ban phase. Dodrio, I do not blame Super Squirtle Squad for actually giving it a priority ban because El Boti was doing work with the Pokemon. Team Roqueto just sticking with the Urshifu ban and actually trying to go for maybe another support to be banned in that in their second choice.
Yeah, obviously Dodrio was a very strong pick on the side of Team Roqueto. Super Squirtle Squad. I think now that they have the Dojo ban, they can be a little bit more comfortable with their hyper carry picks. Obviously, Greninja had a lot of trouble with that Dojo just getting picked off multiple times, being caught by themselves by the drill packs. So we'll see how they can make some adjustments here. So obviously, Team Raketo needs to rely on another character to be their hyper carry, as the Gardevoir is going to be the second ban by Team Raketo.
Yeah, getting that respect onto Raynax's name and trying to force him onto another pick as well. Raynax's favorite Pokemon was definitely the Gardevoir this season, being picked to the majority of the games Super Squirtle Squad was actually going to go for. And you do not want to deal with that crowd control either, or any type of damage that Gardevoir really wants to go out. And 90k damage in that first game really cemented itself as a ban-worthy Pokemon for Team Roqueto.
Yeah, Gardevoir, one of the premier special attackers in this game right now. Obviously, not the only one. There still is a Delphox. There still is a Mew. Those Pokemon still very much exist.
Still waiting on that last pick for Super Squirtle Squad spot. And they have to hurry up because we do have a minute timer and 10 seconds left. They got to make sure they actually get it. If not, the commissioner is just going to pick a random Pokemon to ban. 2, 1, and maybe they managed to get the pick in time. Not quite sure. Oh, no. Absol going to be the ban. It seems like Super Squirtle Squad took a little bit of time to get that ban. And that's another Speed Spur off the board.
Yeah. You never know. It might be even strategic as well.
Could be psychological warfare for these teams, of course.
Not picking anything at all. All right, we're gonna go and head off to the first pick of looks like Super Squirtle Squad is gonna get the first pick this time here. Team Raqueto is gonna get the next 2 picks after that.
First pick here, you gotta pick what's relevant in the meta right now, in my opinion. You gotta go for that Slowbro pick right here if you are definitely Super Squirtle Squad because it's too fun to kill. Really made a number out of the side of Team Roqueto. And then the rest of there's still support players on the board, and they actually go for that Slowbro first pick, which I think is the correct choice here.
Mm-hmm. All right, so we have 2 options here for Team Raqueto, or 2 picks right now for Team Raqueto.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
So a lot of the supports are still going to be available right now. So Blissey is still on the board. Hoopa's on the board.
That is correct. That is correct. In the first ban phase in the first game, both Comfey and Blissey were banned. So a lot more healers are now available to be selected. There's the Comfey pick.
Giving it a lot of priority too. We could be seeing a Decidueye angle for Team Roqueto, however, if you are going to pick that Confe on their side, just to get that damage in. Like we mentioned beforehand, a lot of the responsibility of the damage actually was done for Mordu's Espeon and El Boti's Dodrio. And we are seeing the tree actually being picked from their side, so that's another defender off the board.
Hmm. And that shell itself is also really strong as well. Trevenant obviously just is one of those characters that just stays on the field for a very long period of time if you're able to use its passive ability correctly and also just navigate your way through kiting whatever the other team is throwing at you. So obviously that those two are going to be really tough to deal with. And it looks like Super Squirrel Squad, they're going to need to pick something that has a lot of burst damage right off the bat to get that thing off the board. And Blissey is going to go ahead and be their support pick for their side of the field.
Really like this Blissey pick, especially if you want that extra sustain from the slow bro. If they're ever going to pick a Delphox, it should be here if you want to add extra damage as a special attacker. And considering the fact that Gardevoir is actually banned on the other side, it really starts pinching the opportunities that they have. That's going to be a Delphox pick. Probably going to go for an Espeon here as well for Team
Mhm.
Rocket.
All right, looks like the Delphox is going to be selected here. Obviously, Delphox is a really strong character with both of its flame charge and its mystical fire. Even though it has recently gotten a nerf, it's still just a really solid and consistent move for damage, burst, and mobility. So, and as well, it's the one of the only anti heals in the game as well with its Unite move.
Additional to Delphox, what other anti-healing is there in the game?
There's not a whole lot. There's not a whole lot, to be honest.
Okay.
There's not a whole lot.
So counter meta definitely for sure for the side of Delphox, and trying to make sure that the Comfey is not any type of relevant in those late team fights. Picking the
Mhm.
sustain for yourself as well. I really liked at least those three first picks from the side of Super Squirtle Squad. So similar to what we saw in the previous draft phase, I am preferring their draft so far. But let's see what happens in these final bans for both teams.
I gotta say, this shell on the side of Team Rocketto is just really strong. Comfey, Trevenant, Espeon, two characters that just stay on the field forever with the Trevenant and the Comfey, and then the Espeon just doing a ton of burst damage with the increased range to its Psybeam, Psyshock.
Yeah, the final ban on Team Rocketo's side before was the Blastoise here. So not the with Water Spot Rapid Spinner trying to get that DPS in. 10 seconds still left on the board for that final ban. And let's see if they actually can make that pick right on time. 3 seconds left, 2, 1, and it seems like the time is up from them. But we do see the Blastoise actually getting picked. The commissioner says it's not in void. We're going to see a Cinderace actually picked from the side.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be another attacker from them. A minute on the board. Super Squirtle Squad with their final ban. The Blastoise is still going to be available for them, but Team Roqueto can pick after this ban. So Dragapult is going to be the ban from the side of Super Squirtle Squad.
Yeah, once again, the target ban on the side of Super Squirtle Squad. Just don't want to deal with the dancing dragon. I gotta say, Dragonfall, in personal experience, just a really fun character to play.
Yeah.
Just a really fun character to play, in my opinion.
Yeah, Dragon Dance is super fun to run, especially if you go invisible as well. I really enjoy Dragapult as a character. May not one of the premier hyper carries that we have around, but the Decidueye actually being picked by Super Squirtle Squad. I really like this pick, especially if you're going to run Spirit Shackle, stay right at the outside looking in, with Delphox actually going with that same direction. Slowbro and Blissey being a little bit of that front line that they need to.
I'm curious what they see for this last pick here. I think maybe a Charizard is going to go ahead and be picked once again for the Super Squirtle Squad. What do you think about this Charizard pick? So they've picked Charizard twice now. What are your thoughts about this pick?
So I don't like Charizard as a Pokemon. Right
Uh-huh.
now because of the things that you mentioned beforehand. The true
Right,
damage
right.
is pretty much non-existent right now, and it was such an important tool for its arsenal to actually make it relevant in the late game. But JV Smooth in particular has always gone to the Charizard as a comfort pick, and it is something that Super Squirtle Squad really likes to run, and it has been effective, especially if you actually played those skirmishes and those aggressive fights, particularly for Super Squirtle Squad. If you can target the Espeon and the Greninja from the side of Team Roqueto, it could be a lot easier for you to win those team fights because, again, I feel like a lot of the responsibility and the damage goes directly to Espeon and Greninja. So most of the fights are still going to be about a 4v5 if Confate doesn't do the proper healing either.
Yeah, I think definitely the interaction here that we're going to be looking for is going to be the Greninja trying to find the Delphox and the Decidueye in the back line, right? Greninja, obviously a character that is a hyper carry, and you want to try to find those squishier characters in the back. But Delphox, obviously the schmooviest character in the game at the moment here, behind a Slowbro. You got to find the Fox.
Have to do it. You have to do it. Delphox finally free after a couple of weeks that we had in the league that was actually banned due to bugs, but now available as the only anti-healing that we have in the game right now. And now the commissioner actually saying Charizard is so good. I don't agree with you, Rhino, but we will agree to disagree.
Yeah. Charizard right now is just, how do I put it? It's where Garchomp was in the first year of Unite. It's just kind of a forgotten character. You know, Charizard obviously is like the golden boy of the Pokemon franchise. Just right now, just not seeing a whole lot of play. I think that the nerf to the true damage really just did a huge dent. Quite literally lit up Charizard's meta at the moment.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I felt like Charizard was in a really good spot before the respective nerfs. But again, like we mentioned, it sometimes is not the strength of the Pokemon, it's rather how the player is going to use them. And so far, Super Squirtle Squad find themselves 1 win away from advancing onto the next round of the Gauntlet stage. So who am I to question the Charizard's abilities?
Mm-hmm. Once again, everyone, if you're just tuning in, this is a best of 3 set. Super Squirtle Squad was able to pull the rug out from underneath Team Raketo in the first game. Whoever wins this game is going to be moving on in the gauntlet. And
Itemization.
Yeah. Teams right now are going to go ahead and switch sides here just to orient our viewers. Team Raketo now on purple side, left side of the field. Teams Squirtle Squad is going to be on the right side, and orange side.
Yeah, right next, sticking to the special attackers this time. They chose Gardevoir on the previous one. Now going for the Delphox Saucy. Rocking to the Decidueye on their side, JV Smooth, Trusty Charizard, Lechonk, going for Blissey, Too Fun to Kill, Signature, Slowbro right there. And Bolty actually switching himself up from the Doduo to the Greninja, so I'm assuming that's going to be the Jungle Greninja, Mordu, and everybody sticking with the same, and Cygnus actually running the supports this time around. What I really like about a lot of teams in this league right now, Reiku, is that they can play multiple positions, so sometimes we have somebody like Cygnus that can run supports but also goes for the attacker position, and that versatility really opens up the draft phase for them.
Yeah. Characters right now are really showing off their holowares. We got a couple of gold ribbons here on the Decidueye. Have some premium holowares here. A skin diff, if you might say.
Let's see if that differential is going to be enough to force that game number 3. So we move on to game number 2 between Super Squirtle Squad and Team Roketo.
All right, 2 obvious jungle picks here. Team Roketo is going to go ahead and send their Greninja into the jungle for the left side, Decidueye over on the right side as we navigate way up to the top side. Lots of experience shares, something you want to see here. Trevenant once again going for the stacks early in the game. Charmander right now, they're able to get another stack as well, able to outconfirm both the Charmander and the Slowpoke in the top lane right now. Comfey making sure the tree is nice and comfy in the top lane, going to be able to make it back home too.
Yeah, 14 points on the board from the side of Team Roketo. We're seeing a similar situation to actually getting that aggression right at the beginning and zoning out. And this bottom lane in particular is going to be so annoying to fight against just because of their secure.
Yeah, I agree as well. You got the pound from the Blissey and the confusion from the Mime as well. As we head back up to the top lane, both junglers are up here this time. We have the Trevenant with the tree pocket, and we also have both the junglers up here as well. Looks like a pretty conservative fight here. Slowpoke sitting at about 10%, able to heal back up with that berry as well. No KOs for either side, making their way down to the bottom lane here. Once again, just poking at each other with their ranged attackers. I think in this bottom lane right now has a little bit more advantage going over to the left side because they have the confusion for the Mime and also the Psybeam, Psyshock for the Espeon too.
Yeah, a lot of the aggression that we saw at the beginning of the game as we're seeing a little bit of a type of a fight on top side. Trevenant actually going with the Comfey, scoring 9 points each, just 32 from them, and we're seeing a little bit of a 2v2 right now, but Woodhammer's coming down, just disengage. Now, we're not seeing that many team fights at the early stages just because of I feel like the junglers actually require a lot of levels to actually be relevant in set team fights as we move into the 8-minute mark and rotation to the middle.
Yeah, Swablues and Altar are going to be wiped off the map here. Greninja sitting at about 5% here.
Ooh.
Spirit Check missing their mark there, unfortunately, not able to get the confirmation onto the retreating Frogadier. Right now, Charmander is struggling to get that level 5 evolution into the Charmeleon, and right now they need to find any little bit of experience to get themselves back into the game. As Comfey picks up another KO for themselves onto the Slowbro, as both teams now start to make their way down to the bottom. Charmander heading up to the top.
Oh, a little bit overzealous by Cocodrilo here. Wood hammers all around and trying to poke the tree, but actually getting a lot of the damage in. Team Roqueto cementing themselves as we see the rotation on bottom side.
Yeah, really strong positioning right now, placing their Trevenant up in the front line with their Espeon and Mr. Mime behind them as well. Slowbro trying to hold the line in the back here. Those Woodhammers, though, are coming down onto the Charmeleon. Charmeleon's going to go ahead and start rotating down as well. Here comes the Spirit Jackal. Can they get this confirmation here? If they let that loose there, they would have been able to get the KO onto the Mr. Mime being able to make it back home.
Yeah, that Trevenant is looking more like an attacker rather than a defender. The Woodhammer is doing nasty damage in those team fights, and now we're seeing another team fight actually going for the Registeel.
Unite move there. Looks like the Slowbro, the Charmeleon, and the Blissey are going down. So even though the Registeel going over to the right side, a lot of experience still going over the Team Roqueto as they apply a 40. It looks like another 30 going in. 10 left on the margin here. Do they decide to break this as the Mr. Mime is going to go ahead and take that with the Flame Charge, getting the last KO as well. 2 KOs going in the way of the Delphox and a lot of experience too. Here comes another 7. It's a small over, I believe, as well. Here comes the Phantom Forest, trying to get the confirmation here with the Magical Leaves, able to get the confirmation onto the Delphox.
That was a beautiful defense done by Rainax all around, getting that double KO right on the bottom side. Wasn't quite enough and maybe overextended a little bit, especially when fighting against Trevin head on with the Comfey attached to it, but still solid play by Super Squirtle Squad as the momentum continues to shift on then on their favor, trying to secure this one, but it is secured with the Unite move from the Espeon, and now Team Rocket pushing forward.
Yeah, the Soul Lair able to get the confirmation there onto the Reggie Alecki in the top side as well. I believe that's about 40 points left on the top side. It looks like they're going to go ahead and pull their side. Or do they decide to push this in? No, it looks like the rest of the team is there to get the defend on their tier 1s.
18 to 116 points right now. Reggie Alecki is going to go down. No type of pressure onto that particular zone. The rest of the Super Squad starts dispersing a lot more. So individual plays have maintained the life of Super Squad pretty much close. But now we're seeing a little bit of a trade. I give you 20, you're going to give me a little bit of an overdunk. Going to the bottom side as well, Blissey was, but Espeon is defending on bottom, so they need to be careful now.
Yeah, taking over the levels right now, Greninja highest on the field with access to their Unite move as well here. Charizard finally able to get online 5 minutes into the game here. Just shows the struggle of this character to get its final power spike at the end, or towards the middle part of the game. As we have the Southern Reggie spawning here and positioning, going over the Team Roqueto as the Trevenant starts to move forward here. Knocking on the wood here. Can they get any KOs here? They're going to find the Greninja. Greninja does go down to the Spirit Tracker as well. Lots of KOs coming in here. Charizard's down. Delphox is down. It looks like the Blissey's going to be going down as well. The Bonk coming in. The tree just staying alive, putting everyone in the forest.
Cocodrilo can do no wrong with this tree right now. A double from the side of Slowbro onto the Espeon just to finish it up, but the Comfey actually taking care of the Slowbro, and now Cocodrilo versus the world. This is the 1v4, and that Trevenant does not want to KO. Unfortunately, faints as they continue to get into the pressure on that team fight, and we are going to that Reggie Rock, who's going to be in favor of Team Rocket.
Yeah, Surf is going to get the confirmation for the Greninja there. Delphox tried to get it with their Unite move, but unfortunately, the confirmation on that Greninja was just a little bit better. But can we talk really quickly about this Trevenant staying alive for as long as it did? Trevenant is made of wood, and it was literally being scorched by both the Delphox and the Charizard. Was not able to go down for a solid 10 to 15 seconds, just showing the prowess of this shell.
Yeah, not very effective, at least from the side of Super Squirtle Squad. The rotations are actually going to start going into the Reggie Alecki. Now, do keep in mind that team fight got extended, but Charizard actually lost the Unite move in the first team fight, managing to actually get it from the Espeon that second time around. And now we're moving into the objective.
Alright, right, looks like that went over to, I think, the Decidueye. Oh, no, the Blissey was able to get the confirmation there onto the Regieleki now. They're going to go ahead and apply some pressure here with their Spirit Shackles and with their Fire Blast as well. Let's see. We have 40 points on the top side here. Do they decide to push this in? Obviously, if they don't decide to push this in, it's going to set up for a large over if they get the Rayquaza at the end of the game. Looks like they're going to go and retreat and get some farm onto the field. Taking a look at the levels right now, the Delphox highest on the field for the right side, Greninja sitting at level 12 as well. Still about 20 seconds left. They're going to go ahead and start applying some pressure down here in the bottom lane.
As you should as well. Greninja trying to move in, trying to take care of that Decidueye. A couple of basic attacks that are going to be able to do it. And Slowbro just about to go down, and it does so versus the Espeon. That's a double stun. Now, Super Squad forced to retreat as we are seeing the carry from the side of Team Roqueto moving in versus 3. Rayquaza spawns.
Oh boy. Charizard coming in with their Unite move there is not gonna find anything. They're gonna try to unite the Trevenant. It's gonna soak up that nice and easily. They're gonna put that underneath the forest here as the Greninja starts to poke at the Rayquaza here. Maybe trying to bait out the other team to move forward here as the Slowbro moves out of the jungle here and into the central area. Right here comes the big Unite move coming out of the Greninja as well, as able to find their Hyper Carry on the other side as well. The fireworks are being placed down by the Delphox as well. Is going to be able to get the confirmation with their Fire Blast, and the Fire Spins are coming in here as well. Lots of CC over on the right side here. Blissey sitting at about 5%. Another KO going to the Fire Blast on the Delphox as well. But the Espeon is going to have something to say about it as they get the KO as well. Slowbro, only one left on the right side.
Yeah. Now they start spawning one more time. Spirit Shackle from the Decidueye doing heavy damage onto the Espeon. The rotations on defense are going to start off. They really don't have any type of reason to actually go for the Rayquaza right now. Team Rocket is just looking to rack up that defense. Unite move coming in by the tree. And now the pressure is on from Cocodrilo.
Oh my gosh, Chopper. Tree right now is just putting everyone under the forest right now. Phantom Forest able to get the confirmation onto the Decidueye. Is going to be down for the next 15 seconds. That is a third of the game as the Charizard tries to go for a score down in the bottom lane. Tree once again has something to say about it. The fires cannot extinguish this tree at all. It's sitting pretty healthy as well. Delphox does go down. It's down for the rest of the game. And Team Roqueto looks like they're going to run away with this as Team Super Squirrel Squad can't get the rip in time.
Only 15 seconds left on the board. Unite move coming up by the Decidueye. Most of the team of Roqueto still defending on their side. Unite move coming in from the Charizard. We are seeing Blissey actually trying to score a couple of points, but the Wood Hammer preventing that from happening. If I'm Team Roqueto, I continue with the tree. If I'm Super Squirtle Squad, I'm banning the dang tree. We're going to game 3.
My gosh, once again, the tree and the comfy. Trevenant, by the way, is a ghost type. It is a dead tree, but once you sprout some flowers, that thing is going to be living forever as the comfy just keeping that Trevenant alive for an extended period of time. 8 eliminations going over to a defender, mind you. A defender. Comfy getting 14 assists for themselves, 100k damage, 100k damage taken on the Trevenant. My gosh.
If there's ever an MVP to actually go for anything, it is going to be Cocodrilo with the respective Trevenant doing such a good job. And just playing it more like an all-rounder, basically pretty much an attacker right now with all of the damage going in. But Espeon actually not being a slouch as well. 91k damage, still putting in the work at a distance and making sure that the stuns are available to mitigate whatever type of team fights Super Squirtle Squad was going to go for in those mid to late fights.
Yeah. Unfortunately, right now, I think in order for Delphox and for Decidueye to really strive, they really need something to be in the front line and not just, to debuff the enemy team like with Scald from the Slowbro, but they need something to CC and control the enemy team from approaching their backline. And I think that's really what the Trevenant was able to do, was able to close the distance on those two very squishy characters, and then the Charizard was really just non-existent in this game.
Yeah, a lot of pressure actually put on there. You would think that maybe with Saucy in particular, because you're having that sustain, maybe the possibility of a Racer Leaf to Decidueye could have been something that could have run just to get that extra damage in if you're running Rapid Fire Scarf as well, just trying to get the poke onto the damage. But again, it could be something that could be a little difficult for them if they continue on. So if I'm them, I'm banning the tree first and foremost. Like, it's not even a question right now, and
Yeah.
trying to force then Team Roqueto to not have that much of sustain throughout the course of the match.
Hmm. I do believe. Who has the first pick here for the next game? Is it going to be Team Rockets or Team Super Squirtle Squad?
So the loser actually picks if they go first or second. As soon as we see the sheet up, we
Mhm.
are gonna know who picks first or second. But
Okay.
if you are the losing team, which one would you prefer to be?
Honestly, maybe not even banning the Trevenant, maybe even picking it up for themselves. I don't know if any of the characters
Okay.
or any of the players are able to hold on a confident tree, but I think the tree is just a really strong character right now. And it's not the only tool for CC and as a really strong defender, but obviously in order for Delphox and Decidueye to really strive, you need something in the front line. And not just a slow bro to debuff, but something for crowd control.
Yeah. It's part
Mhm.
of the reason why the ban on Gardevoir was actually so important from Team Roqueto, as well as we're going on to the pick and ban phase from the final stretch. The Super Squirtle Squad actually opting to go second for their pick and bans, or Shifu first ban on the side of Team Roqueto.
Yeah, now that if they're going to be going second here, I think the Trevin. Oh, the Comfey. Yeah, the Comfey is also a really good pick as well. Comfey, obviously, the character that enables your defenders to stay on the field for a very long period of time. Also, a really, really good pick too.
Going
And
for the second ban
I think,
here.
I think one thing I really. Oh wow, they're gonna go ahead and just ban both of them. They're just
Yep,
gonna go
nope.
ahead and ban both of them.
Don't
Don't
want to
want to
deal with it.
deal. Don't want it at all. That's right.
I do not
Obviously
blame them at all.
this
Go ahead.
paves the way for some other defenders to really shine too.
Hmm.
I think Snorlax is an also a really underpicked defender as well. So Slowbro is going to be wiped off the map as well, and I think we might be seeing some newer defenders here with those two wiped off the map.
Yeah, if you're gonna first pick anything right now, it should be either the Hoopa or the Blissey if you want to get some more supports in and get rid of the sustained Super Squirtle Squad might go for, but actually opting for that first pick Dodrio.
Mhm.
Interesting.
So once again, going back to a character that did really well in the first game, obviously falling off in the latter half of the game, is that Dodrio. So hopefully Team Raketo can learn a little bit, but obviously that Slowbro isn't there anymore to get telekinesis. I don't know if that's a word, but
Telekinesis, yeah, you're good. You're good.
telekinesis. All right, first two picks going over to the left side here. Um, I think if anything, I think they need to find an answer for the Charizard. Not an answer in the way that they need to keep enabling it. I think they might need to just find another character to use. Charizard, obviously a really strong character in the first year of Unite, losing that true damage. The 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 fire is not hot with Charizard right now.
It's there, but it's pretty dim. And you do not want your chances to be as dim as possible if you're facing Team Roqueto in a game 3. So hopefully we can get some more stuff coming from Super Squirtle Squad. Just like you mentioned, some versatility in the defender role. First pick Mamoswine from the side of Super Squirtle Squad.
Mhm. Mamoswine, obviously a really strong character at the moment here. It's lost some usage in the last couple of weeks because Trevenant has been so powerful with his Woodhammer, but still a really strong character that once again just stays in the front line and is a really good source of CC for the team.
Yeah, especially if you want to face off against somebody like Dodrio, for example. If you're going to get try to slow it down as much as possible, and if you want some extra stuns in, you freeze them and you throw away that side shock. That's an Espeon pick from Super Squirtle Squad.
Hmm. Next two picks going over the side of Team Raquette, or is it one pick or two picks before the last bans?
They get two picks now, and then Super Squirtle Squad gets that final pick, and then they go to the second
Ah,
phase
yes, yes,
of
yes,
the
yes.
ban.
Okay. Yeah. Here's a character that was not picked for the right side of Team Raketo is the Delphox. Obviously, we saw the Delphox being picked over to the left side here as Blastoise being picked as well. It's another new defender here. So now that again, two defenders are going to be wiped off the map, and the Trevenant and the Slowbro allows allows both of the teams to put some new defenders onto the field.
Yeah, and also gives an opportunity for Super Squirtle Squad maybe run something else. And now we're seeing a Glaceon actually being picked on their side. An opportunity is also there, Reiku, for them to actually go for a different all-rounder, maybe something like a Buzzwole to stop that possible Rapid Spin Water Spout Blastoise.
Yeah, rapid spin water spout. It just if it's able to get the levels and if it's able to get the stacks, if this player is stacking with Blastoise, Glaceon, Espeon, those squishies in the back with very little mobility is just really tough to deal with. As Dragapult once again wiped off the map.
Yep, definitely respecting that Draga on the side of Team Roqueto. There's still a couple of picks left on the board for them. Final banned in game number 3 from Team Roqueto's side. We did see them actually ban Blastoise that last time. They pick it for themselves. The Cinderace was actually picked by the commissioner.
Hmm.
So it's really going to defend, but actually going for the Hoopa, recognizing that there wasn't any type of support on Super Score Squad side.
I don't know about you, but can we get a 3v? Can we get a 3v Super Squirtle Squad? Come on, wouldn't the viewers and the audience love to see a 3v?
Sylveon would actually be pretty good here too. If you want to get
Yeah.
that extra presence on to the respective lanes, Greninja gonna be the pick however, sir. Triple attacker comp from Super Squirtle Squad side. Now we're waiting for Team Rocket to actually pick their corresponding support and possibly all-rounder to round up their composition.
Can we see a Decidueye? Decidueye would actually do really well in this
Yes.
comp as well. But obviously, they already have three damage-heavy characters on the field. They might want to maybe pick a support character like a Blissey or something else as Mr. Mime gets picked as well. Just another good source of CC and disruption for the enemy team.
Final pick for Team Roqueto. If there was ever a time to pick that leafy owl, it is now.
It is now.
If you're going to have that solid front line and actually going for Machamp to round up their comp.
Machamp also a really good pick as well. So I think one thing that Super Squirtle Squad needs to be really worried about right now is their mobility. Right, they're putting a lot of reliance on their Mamoswine to hold the front line against a rapid spinning Blastoise, a Delphox with continuous um, barrage of fireballs and everything, and the Machamp as well just has really good burst damage with the dynamic punch and with the Unite move as well. Who's gonna be this last pick? I think it has to be Blissey. It has to be Blissey or it has to be another defender. It can't be anything else. Or I think Super Squirrel Squad just doesn't have the front line in order to deal with it.
If only Umbreon was here sooner. You could have.
The crab has come out to play. Crab hand.
Oh, wow. This is going to be so fun. This is going to
All
be really
right.
fun. So we did see a couple of good plays from Crossel, played internationally, especially in the Asian side of the globe. We did see a couple of picks from Crossel, but it's definitely not one of those Pokemon that we see quite often. But again, that is the beauty of our drafting system, Reiku. We have opportunities to see defenders such as Crustle to actually try to duke it out in this game 3 and force Super Squirtle Squad to actually go in.
I wonder, I mean, Crustle is obviously in a really weird place. Right. I mean, it has good kind of have good CC. If you're really good, if you're really good with the placements of the Rock Tomb, or I mean, they can also just function as like another like an all rounder with the crit and the X scissor, but we'll see. I don't know. I don't think I've ever seen a Crustle in competitive play, at least the ones that I've casted before. So I hope to see this character really shine. Whoever decides to play the Crustle.
Yeah, you do have an opportunity to stun people with the X scissor a lot, and if you put those walls in the middle, it could be a nuisance, especially to reach the Glaceon and the Espeon in that back line. And we do have the Ninja actually going for the flanks to try to interrupt whatever Delphox is going to do. With that said, however, I am kind of preferring what Team Rogeto really likes to do with their team comp.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the right side has really good burst damage on their side of the field, and three characters that do not like to be bursted.
Especially when you have Blastoise, which I am pretty sure it's going to be a Water Spout Rapid Spin Blastoise because it can just take care of the Glaceon and the Espeon in a blink of an eye or just a snap of the finger.
Mhm. And see, like the one thing about like the Espeon and the Glaceon is they do really well with characters that have really good like burst CC, but like with what Team Roketo has right now, they have characters that have like kind of continual but not as like bursty. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying, but like Mr. Mime with the Showtime and
Mhm.
with the Blastoise and the Rapid Spin, it's like the passive is not really going to work in the favor of Team Squirrel Squad right now.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's a lot of DPS on their side rather than just having those burst options available,
Yeah.
which in this type of meta is actually something that at least I would prefer in regards to how I would like to play the game, just because of the fact that most of the fights are going to be extended if you're always going to run the supports that are corresponding there. With that said, however, there's still an opportunity to get those bursts in if you're both Glaceon and the Espeon, right? You get those tons in. They can't really move anywhere else if you start putting up those bursts from the Greninja. Like, the 3 attackers that they have on Super Squirtle Squad's side are actually super solid too.
Mm-hmm. Alrighty, everybody. I hope you guys are still with us as we go into a game 3 in the first round of tonight's game. Team Roketo versus Team Super Squirtle Squad. Once again, orienting our viewers. Team Roketo on purple side is going to be on the left side of the map. Super Squirtle Squad over on the right side.
Game number 3 is right, go, and we're just about to go in right now. So, Dodrio probably going to go for the jungle side. We're going to see Defender, Squirtle, and Matchup on top. We're seeing Mamoswine actually accompanying what I feel is going to be the Glaceon, if I'm not mistaken. So it's going to be Jungle Greninja, and on the bottom side we do have the Crustle and the Espeon, if I'm not mistaken. No, actually it's inverted. Glaceon down and Espeon up.
Yeah, sometimes I get them a little mixed up too, especially like when I'm in game as well. I'm not like maneuvering around the map. I'm like looking at the menu screen. I don't know which EV is on which side of the map here. Looks like we have the XP shares on the bottom with the Mime and the Crustle as well. Glaceon try to out-secure. Looks like the basic attack went over to the Mr. Mime there, as we do have the first evolution with the Breaksin in the bottom lane as they fight over this neutral Indeedee here. Can we get it over to the right side? No. Looks like that went over to the Breaksin as well as the jungler, the Greninja, making their way down to the bottom.
In the meantime, on top side, we did see the first feint coming out. Machop actually going down to the EV on the top side. Mamoswine, in this case, Swinub actually doing a lot of good CC to stop whatever it is that they want to do. Altaris and Swablu's right on the table.
All right, looks like we do have the evolution here. Here comes the passive, actually working in the favor of the Espeon there to negate the CC coming out of the Drill Peck. Able to get that level 4 evolution in perfect timing here. It looks like right now it's still even up in the top side. Machop still not able to get that level 5 evolution. Obviously, the Squirtle does not have the XP share on them. Dodrio right now just waiting for the jungle to come back, but I think this Greninja knows exactly where they are as the Swinub comes to help out the jungler. The Espeon coming down as well. We have lots of support for their jungler here. Dodrio right now on the pixel. There goes the basic attack coming out of the Espeon, able to protect their jungler from the Dodrio invader.
Yeah, super important as well to get that onto Too Fun to Kill too. Espeon a little bit of trouble and fighting that 2v1 scenario according to what we're seeing in the map, and the rotations are going to start coming in for the 8-minute mark as Altaris and Swablus are all going to appear right in the middle.
Machoke making their way back to their tier 1 as they're about 5%. Here comes the Fire Blast once again, not opting for that Mystical Fire for Team Roketo here. Still kind of a more conservative engagement in the bottom lane here. Crustle trying to put in some work, sitting at about 5% right now, going to make its way back home. Fire Blast making its way onto the Greninja. Greninja's going to surf its way back home, grabbing the waves back to this side of the map here, as we do have the Swablu spawning in the next few seconds here. Finally, we get an evolution in the top side to the Piloswine right now, struggling in the top lane.
20 seconds left on the board for the respective Regis to actually start spawning. It's 3v3 scenario, but now the rotation by Too Fun to Kill actually going on to the bottom side. We're seeing Psyshock Psybeam coming out on the way from the Espeon, and the DPS damage from the Glaceon coming out as well. Oh, that's a kill onto the Crustle.
Crustle going down there. Fire Spin finding 2 of them here as the Icicle Shards are coming out of the Glaceon. Glaceon's not going to be able to make it back home here. Trying to apply some pressure here. Going to go ahead and grab this Greninja as well, or just zone it back to their tier 2. Crustle trying to make its way back here. The Shell Smash coming in here. X's are able to find maybe 2 KOs here with the basic attack. Able to get 2 KOs for themselves. And Crustle putting in some work for their team.
Yeah, you gotta make sure that as well you try to get that objective as much as possible. Unite move coming in, trying to secure that objective from the side of Team Roqueto. X Scissors
Oh
one more
my
time, and he
God.
actually gets it! He gets it!
Oh my god, this Crustle is gonna go ahead and snip, not snipe, it's gonna snip that away with the X Scissor going over to the right side here. Good chunk of experience by themselves, able to steal that away from Team Roqueto. Right now, even though it traded their life, lots of experience going over to the right side. Much needed experience right now as they are down 77 to 44.
Yeah, but looking at the levels one more time, it is a little bit of a level differential advantage from Team Roqueto's side, having already a Delphox in level 10. The War Turtle is going to go down for trying to defend. So Regieleki is still going to be on the board. They do manage to take away that zone.
Barrage coming in here. Crustle is going to eat all those fists to the face. Espeon is also going to eat those fists to the face as well as the stomps coming in from the Mamoswine. Can they stamp out this Machamp? Machamp goes down as well. Dodrio is finding its way here as well. The Drill Peck is going to go ahead and find its mark there. It looks like they're having some trouble. Mamoswine finally goes down, but while that was going on, Super Squirtle Squad able to get the Eleki in the top side.
Yeah, the distraction from the side of the Mammal working wonders from their side too. And just like that, it is a different scenario to what we saw in these first two games, Reiku. It's 167 to 87, but at some extra 31 points,
Oh my
keeping
gosh.
it pretty much even from both teams.
Drill Peck in the close combat is going to make quick work of that Greninja. Was able to get the 31 in the bottom lane, but it's going to trade their life for as well.
Oh my
Crustle
God.
gonna go for a score for themselves. This barrage coming from these two, obviously going to be going down there to the Crustle. Crustle is going to go ahead and rubble its way through the front lines here, trying to find the Dodrio, making its way back to the jungle, trying to apply some pressure here. Both the defenders, not really a defender, more like a defender, an all-rounder here. X's are once again trying to snip the life out of this Delphox, doing its really good job kiting on the tier 1.
They just keep getting those KOs onto the Machamp, and Cocodrilo is making a nuisance out of everybody there, making some Eevee stew, but the Dodrio actually securing that one. Unite move is hitting nobody on the side of Super Squirtle Squad.
Yeah, Psychic Solaire only. It's not going to be able to pick up anyone there. As the Drill Peck once again going to find its way onto the Greninja as well. Able to protect their tier 1 and get really good positioning here too. Mamoswine sitting in the bush here is going to be kited away. 50% onto the Regirock in the bottom lane here. Maybe Unite move coming out from both teams here as we get this confirmation. Defenders are going to start moving their way back in. X's are coming their way as well. Uh-oh, can we get the Dodrio Unite moves? Able to hit the Crustle in the back line. Uh-oh, here comes the boosted auto. Does go down to the Glaceon, but who gets that there? I think that was the Mamoswine? No, the Greninja was able to get the confirmation. A huge team fight in the bottom lane. And here comes some pressure for Team Super Squirtle Squad in the bottom lane. Blastoise surfing its way in. Cowabunga dude trying to hold on to this bottom lane. Here comes the fireworks as well. This is just a huge fight back and forth. Once again, strong defense by the left side.
And all of that started eliminating the Blastoise from the beginning of the match. Just the rotations, getting everybody on point and securing another objective from the side of Super Squirtle Squad. Part of the reason why they wanted the Crustle in the first place. On close combat coming in by the Machamp, putting the Crustle in a very precarious spot right now. The rotations are going to start by both teams. Majority of Super Squirtle Squad on top. Surfs come out by the Blastoise, but they continue to zone themselves out. It's looking like another team fight on the top side for the Regieleki. Oh!
Uh-oh, Machamp trying to find its way back home here is going to be forced back to their tier 2 in order to make it back home here. Mamoswine finding a little bit of disruption there as the Regieleki going over to Super Squirtle Squad. Right now, they have a lot of momentum on their side. They were down for the most of the first 6 minutes of the game, but I think they're right back in it as well. I'm taking a look at the levels right now. Delphox has not been able to find anything for themselves, sitting at only level 11. Dodrio getting access to their Unite move as well. Still trying to apply some pressure in the bottom lane here. Here comes a Unite move a little bit late there. Is able to make it back to the tier 2, but obviously a huge 50-39 over going into the bottom lane as Rayquaza spawns one more time for both of these teams.
But is it going to be enough? However, Cocodrilo moving onto the front. Already one of the Crustles actually going down. That's a Unite move from Cocodrilo, and it's a 2v2 scenario.
Oh,
and the Machamp
no.
goes down!
Man. Oh, lots of risk going in there, trying to KO the Glaceon, but unfortunately, I think the passive actually worked in the favor of the Glaceon. Was able to get out of the barrage and get the Ice will crash a hit there. Here comes the Solaire coming out of the Espeon as well. Showtime from the Mr. Mime. A huge team fight in the jungle as the Espeon does go down here. Here comes the big water shuriken as well. Another KO. Lots of KOs coming in from both sides. 2 KOs for the Blastoise stomping its way here. Oh my gosh, there's so much AOs on the ground here with so many characters being KO'd.
Oh my god, close combat by the Machamp, and now high horsepower used by the Mamoswine to actually maintain that. And that's going to be a lot of damage from both, and we do know that Cocodrilo is actually going for a more offensive build. That's why we're seeing the life deplete. That's a side shot to the face for the Machamp, and the rotations are actually going to be there. They're currently in advantage, 307 points to 202. It's going to be pivotal for Super Squirtle Squad to get this Rayquaza. Or either that or rotating as the Mamoswine is doing. Everybody else in Team Rocket's side is actually distracted trying to defend.
This is going to be a really close game to the finish here. Mamoswine is going to get another 100 into the top tier 2, 307 to 302. This is a close race to the finish here. Do they decide to just go for points? Yeah, there's only 30 seconds left here. They got to get some points or maybe rely on the Dodrio as well. Rayquaza sitting at about 60% right now. The Fire Spin finding its way onto the Espeon as well. Lots of damage, lots of KOs. Once again, here comes the Hydro Typhoon. Crustle is going to be buried underneath the water. Here comes the big Unite move from the Delphox. Who gets this confirmation? And I think that went over to the left side. Team Raketo able to get the confirmation with the Blastoise is going to drop their hundreds and put Super Squirtle Squad to bed.
Oh, wow. About a 5-point differential. At the later stages of the fight, Super Squirtle Squad just fighting tooth and nail, sweating so much for their leads, just about to close this out, maybe making a little bit of an upset win. Not quite going to be enough. Team Roketo gets that Rayquaza fight. Cocodrilo with the MVP. If there was ever an MVP for this set, it was definitely going to be the Trevenant and the Machamp in these team fights. Yep, Team Roketo with the victory over Super Squirtle Squad 2-1.
Wow. Wow, what a game 3 ending here for both of these teams. Obviously, we unfortunately have to say goodbye to Super Squirtle Squad, but let's put our hands together for this team, though, especially this Crustle really showing out a character that does not see a whole lot of competitive usage, really shining out here.
Did such a good job throughout the series, and I feel like this particular set was a culmination of how much they have developed throughout the season. They did start off struggling to get those victories in, and into the later halves of the season, they actually started to rack up those wins just enough to scrape by and get that last playoff spot in the Unite World Coronation League, and they have an impressive showing versus one of the top teams in the Puerto Rico scene in Pokemon Unite. Team Roketo is. So, we're still not done yet. Team Roketo does have momentum in their favor, but they have to face off now against #Team Drip in the next round of this bracket.
Yeah. Gauntlet, Team Drip, and Dark Aura, they're just watching these. Super Squirtle Squad is going to be falling here, but Team Roketo, you're not taking a break yet. You're running right into the next game and right into the next set.
And this is one of the things that I really like about this format as well, right, Go? It might seem like because Team Rocket actually played a couple of games, they could be at a little disadvantage, but at the same time, Team Drip hasn't really warmed up, so they have to pretty much go in cold onto the next match. Well, Team Roketo actually has an opportunity to continue to perfect their play and get some corrections in and adaptations to see how maybe they can fix some stuff that maybe they did beforehand that was kind of lackluster.
So as a new observer here, these teams have these teams have faced each other before, right? In the earlier parts of the season.
We would have to verify the schedule with the commissioner because not all teams actually fought against each other.
Okay.
But as soon as the commissioner gives me the heads up, we can actually verify that. But #Team Drip, one of those mainstay teams as well in the Unite World Coronation League.
So,
One of the top teams as well.
at the beginning of the season, we decided that we were going to just make a schedule. Like just me personally, I was just going to make a whole schedule. Well, it got very tedious and was very hard to do by myself. So after like first 2 weeks I had made it, and then I didn't keep up with it. I did keep up with it, but at the same time, it was so hard to find out who was playing who, blah, 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 right? So I ended up doing a generator after that, and some teams I'm having to face against other teams again for the rest of the season. But I believe Team Drip and Team Rocketo both did play against each other, and Team Rocketo beat Team Drip a 2-1 fashion earlier in the season. That was when actually
Hmm.
Team Rocketo started their they went on an 0-2 start, and then that was their first win to get on to where they are now in the bracket.
So to answer your question, yes, they have faced before, and yeah, that this is super interesting as well because of the fact that Team Drip was their first victory to get into the momentum to go into playoffs in the first place. So it's a little bit of storytelling there for Team Roqueto facing off with the first people that they beat in the regular season.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, running this gauntlet obviously has some really interesting interactions. One in terms of the fatigue and warming up on the flip side, but also, you know, Team Drip has been watching Team Raketo, and going
Yeah.
into this pick ban phase, you also have that kind of that adaptation as well. Seeing obviously that the Dodrio, the Trevenant, and the Comfy being really strong picks as well, it really allows your team to make some of these adjustments really early on before even facing them on the.
Yeah, which is why versatility is so important when it comes to actually these types of draft phases. It does give you an opportunity to get a lot more creative when it comes to compositions, like we saw the Crustle beforehand for Super Squirtle Squad. At the same time,
Mhm.
you don't really want to show all your hand from the beginning, just because it gives an opportunity, like you said, for other teams to scout, and there is a little bit of leeway to actually continue to see. Okay, these are actually prioritizing these picks right now, so let's go ahead and see if we ban these or if we pick them for themselves. What type of other Pokemon they can actually go for, and actually forces Team Rocket to pivot into something that's a lot more comfort, and then like the other types of strategies start to show, giving a
Mm.
lot more advantage to somebody like Dark Aura, who's already waiting on the wings for the winner of this next set.
Mhm. So obviously, I've seen Team Roqueta here, but maybe you can provide some of our newer viewers, and for me, maybe some insight onto the two teams that are still waiting to be seen on stream: Team Drip and Dark Aura. I do know a little bit about Dark Aura. I've played with a couple of their team members before, but maybe Team Drip, maybe you can give us a little bit more insight into their team compositions, who they like to play, kind of that kind of information.
Yeah, of course. So Team Drip and Dark Aura are very versatile in their respective picks.
Mhm.
Animated Eagle in particular is not a fan of the submission Machamp. He despises it. Actually, I actually got to do some commentary with him. Shout outs to him there. So hashtag Team Drip. It's really going to depend on really what they want to go for in the particular day. We did see a lot of Blastoise being played on their side as well as other picks that could be a lot more meta based. They do prefer to actually go for a lot more defenders than anything else. Most of the teams that actually come from North America really like to stay within the meta. A lot of support picks and defenders being a lot of more priority. First time we're seeing Mamoswine in a while, which is actually super interesting. But as the game has developed on, things like Slowbro actually continue to be a lot more prio. Clefable was actually super well picked as well, but because it's banned, then it gives an opportunity for them to branch out. So yeah, Team Drip and Dark Aura, some of the top teams right now,
Mhm.
and the reason why I talk about Team Rocket so much is because they actually go for my region, which is Puerto Rico, and I actually know a lot more of what they want to pick and how they want to fight. However, it's actually interesting because during the season and how 2032 continues to go on, Team Rocket has actually escalated to be one of the top three teams in Puerto Rico right now. So we are seeing a lot of adaptations from them as well, and actually a lot of adaptability from the other teams in North America. So it gives them an opportunity to continue on to get all those necessary picks. But as for Team Drip and Dark Aura specifically, they do like to run whatever is in the meta, and that's actually pretty good in the sense that it seems like they have pockets full of Pokemon that they can use.
Mhm. Yeah, thank you, Chopper, for providing me and the viewers that insight, as well as looks like both of the teams are starting to get ready into the second round of the night.
Yeah, just about to start off, Raikou. We do have a couple of Pokemon that are on their way right now. So Gudra actually making their debut in Pokemon Unite a couple of days ago. We still have an Umbreon waiting in the wings. There has a Chandler as well as a Leafeon that's actually going to come out just to round up that five-team EV composition. So
Yeah.
who are you excited about actually from the debuting Pokemon that we have on our way?
So let's I guess let's first talk about Gudra a little bit. Gudra was released, was it yesterday or 2 days ago? It was one of those two. But Gudra, after the last couple of Pokemon that were released, specifically like Zacian and then Comfey right before that, two really polarizing characters to be handed out. Gudra is, in my opinion, I feel like it's very balanced. It's just one of those defenders that, just like the defender role, it really relies on your team to be doing some work in terms of the damage department. But I've seen some Gudra Comfies do some work, and maybe it's just because it's pocketed by a Comfy, but if in the right hands, or once the community starts to understand how this character really functions, I think Gudra can be up there. It has a big shoe to fill in the defender department with a lot of really strong defenders like Trevenant and Slowbro we've seen tonight. But I think it has the ability. In terms of the other characters that are coming or joining the rest of the roster on Thea Sky Ruins, I think I'm most excited for Umbreon. I was taking a look at some of the videos on the PTS, and some of the tools that this character has. It looks really fun, especially when you're putting some of these characters in jail with the mean look. That looks
Yeah.
like a really fun ability.
Yeah, you can't really go anywhere if you're going to start using Umbreon, but with that said, neither team can either use Dodrio or Urshifu in the first pick and ban phase, so giving it a lot of priority onto the Urshifu, pretty much what you can do right now, and Team Drip showing a lot of respect to the Dodrio on the side of Team Roketo.
Round number 2 happening. Match number 2 happening.
And Espeon actually being that second ban on the side of Team Roketo. They didn't really want to fight with that special attacker right now. The buffs that Espeon received from regards to range have been making it so good when it comes to priorities and special attackers. So definitely don't want to deal with it or the stuns that Psyshock can give you at this level.
Mm-hmm. Another 45 or so seconds for Team Drip to select their second Pokemon here. Delphox is going to be wiped off the map as well. Two really strong special attackers, leaving a couple of left. Mew obviously is still on the field. Gardevoir is still on the field as well. Probably two of the other premier. There it is. The Mew is going to go ahead and be selected by Team Drip. Probably the premier special attacker at the moment. It got, a handful of nerfs in the last couple of patches or so, but still showing out to be an A, maybe even an S tier pick with its versatility and quite literally its biggest toolkit in the game.
Probably the best laner in the game right now. We are seeing Comfey being picked on the side of Team Roketo, and we're probably going to see a tree here.
Oh, Trevenant. Yeah, that's what I was saying. Yep, there it is.
Yeah, there
The
we
Comfy
go.
Trevenant that we saw in match number 2 of their last set. Just two characters that stay out on the field for a very long time. Most likely going to be maybe seeing a Gardevoir sitting behind them, or maybe a Decidueye. Either one of those two, I really want to see.
It will be super interesting. We're still probably going to go for an attacker here and then a defender. Most probably, we still have supports on the board. Blissey still available for them. Mr. Mime, Eldegoss, Hoopa. So hopefully, Team Drip can give us a little bit more orientation as to what they want to go for. Slowbro being the premier defender right now, so they prefer Team Rocket actually prefer Trevenant over the Slowbro, which is pretty interesting too.
Yeah. I wonder what character they're really looking out for, because obviously Slowbro is the character that they want to shut down hyper carries, and um, I wonder what Team Roketo has in terms of their hyper carries that they really want to shut down. As the Hoopa gets selected as well, that's going to be their source of healing for their team with the hyperspace portal, the hyperspace highway back home, getting some huge rotations as well. Let's see, we're most likely going to be seeing some sort of hyper carry here, maybe Decidueye, possibly a Gardevoir being picked. Um, Dragapult, yes, yes, I totally
Yeah.
forgot about the Dragapult. Perfect, I'd love to see this. So, I mean, looking at Team Drip's side right now, I don't know exactly what build that this particular Dragon Ball player likes to play, but both of them look like both move sets look like they could be in play here, both the Dragon Dance and the Phantom Force, because Dragon Dance does really well when the other team doesn't have a huge pool of CC, and I think that's what Team Drip is lacking right now in the CC department.
Yeah,
Crowd
additional
control.
to the fact that if you want to have that slow build with telekinesis, if you're running full heal on the Dragon Ball, Phantom Force could be something that you could go for if you're gonna try to run it on the jungle side, which is pretty much where Dragon Ball is most effective right now. We are seeing the ban of Blastoise from Team Rocket just to avoid that any type of double defender comp. The Snorlax is
Mhm.
still available in Mamo as well. Machamp being banned until then on the side of hashtag Team Drip, however. So they do
Yeah.
not want to deal with Cocodrilo's Machamp, which is kind of curious because Trevenant usually goes to Cocodrilo, so maybe they're just banning it outright just in case Trevenant can be a flex between a couple of players.
All right, most likely seeing another disruption character coming out here, Mr. Mime. He's going to be selected by Team Raketo. Most likely going to be picking some sort of other hyper carry or potentially an attacker, an all rounder over on the right side. Putting a lot of reliance, obviously, on this Dragapult here. Let's see what they decide to go over on the left side. I think they really need some form of CC, or if they can also just decide to go Surf Slowbro. That is also a really strong option as well. It's a really strong option for CC too.
Gotta get that crowd control and trying to get them as stunned as possible. Mew being a nuisance right on the back line. And we're seeing Gardevoir actually coming in
Mhm.
for a lot more CC and stun depending on whatever build you're going to go for with the Guardy.
Yeah. I think at least for Dragapult, at least in competitive five play, I think Phantom Force is just the more consistent and the more safe build, especially if you're relying on Dragapult to be a true hyper carry. You don't want to take those huge risks of getting crowd controlled in the middle of your Dragon Dance and then just being wiped off the map as soon as you get crowd controlled. But got two more picks here for Team Drip, one more pick here for Team Raketo. Again, I think Team Raketo is probably going to go for an attacker or another all rounder or their first all rounder, I guess.
Yeah, Team Drip, it's pretty much the same. They have to go for an all rounder here, or maybe trying to round it up with a double support comp and rocking an Eldegoss. Maybe it would be the only choice as a support right now, considering Clefable is still banned. Now, Plissy is also available, but you already have the Hoopa. But actually, rounding it up with a Lucario, this is actually really, really interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, looking at this right now, I think Team Drip right now they're lacking right now in CC, but they are definitely winning in terms of the confirmation. Their smiting ability with both Power Up Punch, Lucario. I mean, if they do decide to go with that, and then the Solar Beam with the Mew, two really strong tools to confirm objectives.
Lucario is one of those Pokemon that I feel is easy to pick up, difficult to master, especially
Yeah.
at the highest of levels, because you got to make sure. And we are seeing the Decidueye rocking on the side of Team Rocket, so Dragapult and Decidueye actually being the hyper carries on their side. But talking a little bit more about the Lucario, it's one of those Pokemon that you really have to make sure that you have level differential in your favor.
Mhm.
Otherwise, it becomes just like a regular defender, and not that much of a damage can be done. So it's going to be pivotal for the Lucario to actually stand out, have a standout performance, especially with the composition that Team Rocket or what he wants to run.
Yeah. I think the Decidueye pick here for Team Raketo is a really strong option as well. Decidueye is normally a character that's picked towards the latter half of the draft phase just because there's a lot of counters to Decidueye right now. And Team Drip, you can't counter the last pick, obviously, because it is the last pick. And it's a really good option if you're able to get your stacks in and putting on a lot of damage both into Mew and into the Gardevoir if you're able to get those Spirit Shackles hitting their mark.
Yeah, right you are. We're just about to hit that itemization part between the teams here. Whoever wins this match actually faces Dark Aura in the final stage of the gauntlet match for day number 2 of the Unite World Coronation League Playoff Edition. Chopper and Reiku giving you a little bit of commentary. So Reiku, additional to Pokemon Unite, do you have any other games that you like to do commentary for, or anything else that you would like to do? Just as we have some downtime in between the itemization process in the game.
This is actually my first game that I've done like serious commentary for. Prior to Pokemon Unite, I did play a lot of VGC video game series for
Mm-hmm.
Video Game Championship Series.
Mm-hmm.
I forget what
Video game
VGC stands for.
championship, maybe?
Yeah,
That was it?
yeah,
Oh, yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
VGC, the doubles format for the main series Pokemon games that did play a lot of VGC. And I also, I mean, kind of more casual commentary on just like the big tournaments going on. But I haven't delved into VGC for Scarlet and Violet, but Sword and Shield I played a ton of VGC.
Okay, that's actually super fun, and we're actually very grateful to have you here as well as one of our guests. As well, be sure to the itemization process in the Sky Ruins.
All right. I don't know.
Here, but we will sit tight as the Discord says. Now, Raptor Arms, Animated Eagle, Squirtle's Den, Cloud, and Tech gonna be the members from the side of I was gonna say Super Squirtle Squad because I saw the logo here. Hashtag Team Drip, and then Cocodrilo Justice Mordu, Sickness, and El Poti on the side of Team Roqueto. Just like the commissioner mentioned beforehand, the first time that they faced each other, Team Roqueto actually took the victory.
Mm-hmm.
So a little bit of vengeance and a run back from the side of Team Drip is in order for them.
I hate that you said Super Squirtle Squad and then Squirtle's Den is on their team. Now I'm just gonna call their team Super Squirtle Squad. God dang it.
Okay, so that's actually quite interesting because Super Squirtle Squad is actually like a couple of the members from their team were actually from hashtag Team Drip, and they actually separated, and so a little bit of lore there as well. So hopefully we can get that screen going so I can see what is going on.
There you go.
Oh.
Looks like he's probably just gonna reboot it up.
I'm just waiting a little bit here. You know, some Pokemon Unite being played more than a year ago, just as the debut of the series actually started.
How many years has Pokemon Unite been out now? Is it 2 years in July?
Yeah,
2
almost 2
years.
years now, and over millions of downloads on the respective apps. We are seeing the stream actually getting picked up right now as soon as possible, and we do have our screen back. So hi,
Cool.
folks, everything going. We are alive and well.
So
Yes.
we had a game crash, so we're gonna have to restart the match. But yeah, so nothing really happened while you guys were trying to get locked
Okay, in the
back in on there.
Actually, in the meantime, Kamish, can you
Yes.
talk a little bit about Team Drip and Dark Aura so we can get a little bit more background on them? Because you are more familiar of the NA scene rather than myself. I've casted a couple of the matches.
Right. So the way that Squirtle's Den is the overall maker of Team Drip. He's basically the captain and made the team. He actually had part of the squad from Super Squirtle Squad. They broke up, and so he made up a new team for hashtag Team Drip. Now that's the current team that you're pretty much seeing right now. Everybody from that from this now are also now broke up. So they're playing. They're basically playing this game as just friends and an equal what's it called, teammates, I guess. No hard feelings between any of them. They're all great players. If anybody's looking for any of them, they are definitely making teams and get every single one of them. They're really good players. But other than that, yeah, hashtag Team Drip been around pretty much since pretty much season one, and they've been very very dominant in the NA series since then. I would say probably like high 30s is where they've been at, and then so when you go over to Dark Aura, you have Get Yoshi. Malinaki was on that team, but he also left. There was they've changed so many players from Dark Aura. Galadite is on there now. Let me double check this as I'm looking at my screen here.
So in the meantime, while the commissioner continues to search, just to give you a little bit of a hindsight,
have
right there,
Kersey.
Dreku. Right.
They have Kersey now, and also True Blue Kiro on Dark Aura's team. So they have basically remade their whole team since I think 4 in our league.
Yeah, so actually going in the middle of the season, there were a lot of changes between teams. A lot of people that actually went on to do different things. A lot of newcomers actually coming in from different teams as well. And we did have a little bit of a trade from teams as well. Rick Solpick in particular actually being in one team and actually choosing to go on to another one. So a lot of changes, and which is part of the reason why it's actually so interesting to re-see what these teams are going to go for throughout the season, and hopefully those types of new members can actually give them another flavor going into the playoff section.
Mm-hmm. All right, as we're making our way back here, obviously Gudra is not going to be played here, as we can see Gudra kind of cycling through. Ooh, definitely not a Zacian, I'll tell you that much. Definitely not a Zacian. That is one character I would not like to see in a competitive format. I don't know if they updated this, but is it true that in the ACL that Zacian is available to be played?
Yes.
You check that with the commissioner because I am not
Yes.
sure of that information.
ACL is actually allowing it this weekend for their finals.
Oh my goodness.
Yep.
Oh,
And
wow.
So, but the thing is that I think there's been teams already going in and going, hey, we're going to pretty much just ban it. Like they've already been pretty much talking to each other. It's kind of hilarious.
It's like a gentleman's.
Yeah, it's like I
agreement
think it's a
thing.
gentleman's agreement between both of them. I believe they were talking about like Zacian and Comfy both being respectfully banned on both sides. So finals are not going to be fun in that round. But we're going to go ahead and go into game number 1. Hashtag Team Drip versus Team Rocketo, baby. Let's go.
All
Yep,
right,
first
Rocketo
game.
able to get a little bit of a break here. They're going to go ahead and send the Dragapult, a character that was banned for most of the first round, going over to the right side, and then Gardevoir on the left side here. Hoopa is going to help out their Gardevoir, obviously sporting the XP share, maybe handing over the red buff over to the Hoopa, giving it a good source of CC in the early game as well. Yep, there's the red buff too. As the Hoopa heads up to the top lane to defend their lane, potentially trying to stop some stacks going in here in the top lane. Phantom able to get a stack for themselves.
Yeah, part of the reason why optimization is so important is to actually rock that experience share. Gives the opportunity for the jungle to not fall behind. That's why the red buff actually gets down to them. Like you mentioned beforehand, we are seeing stuns coming in by the Hoopa and a couple of more points actually being scored by the Trevenants, and this is something that could be dangerous from Team Drip if they are not careful.
Oh yes, this is what I want to see here. Dracloak coming in with the dance. He's gonna grab that citrus berry there, kind of grabbing the citrus berry that the Hoopa stole from the other side there. Looks like Phantom there, currently sitting at about 5%. Company going to keep them nice and healthy here. Here comes the dancers once again. Hoopa, are they going to be able to make it back home as well? Gardevoir trying to put in some moves here onto the Dracloak as well. This is a bloodbath in the first minute of the game, everybody.
Yeah, a lot of team fights played. Animated Eagle trying to force them back with the extreme speed Lucario. And meanwhile, in the bottom side, it's pretty much just Farm City. From both ends, just fighting against each other for the respective farms and clears. Level differentials are pretty much not that marked, except for the Dracloak, who's currently in level 6, if I'm not mistaken, and currently actually reached level 6 now. So pretty much even across the board for both teams.
Dracloak actually going to make a rotation down to the bottom lane before heading into the middle here. As both teams start to navigate their way down to the middle, the central area here. Solar Beam, it looks like they're going to be able to confirm a lot of those away from the Trevenant that was trying to use their Woodhammer as well. Dance is coming in here too. Oh my god, the A pressing coming over from Team Pikachu right now with the Dragon Dance and with the Decidueye as well. The Gardevoir is not going to be able to make it back to their tier 1, and here comes a lot of pressure. Lucario trying to grab some stacks for themselves, but they're going to lose their tier 1 in the first 3 minutes of the game. And the Dances, once again, my gosh, can he make it back home? Oh my god, the Hyperspace Highway able to make it back home, but my goodness, this Dracloak, this Dragapult is putting on a clinic, a dance class, if you may, on the field right now.
Yeah, this is part of the reason why Super Squirtle Squad was actually so respectful of the Dragapult. It's been doing numbers on the side of hashtag Team Drip, who are trying to force themselves to actually rotate downward. Now 10 seconds left before the Reggie spawns, and Animated Eagle trying to get as much farm as possible before actually assisting in that team fight.
All right, taking a look at the field state at the moment here. Mew having access to their Mirage, their Unite moves, the only one on the field at the moment here. Trevenant coming down with level 8, by the way. That is a huge stat margin for them as well. They're going to go ahead and start this rip here with their 2 auto attackers as well. Here comes the Spirit Jackal as well, able to get that confirmation. Dragapult able to get that final evolution as well. Here comes the Spirit Jackal, is going to hit the Mew in the face here as they apply some pressure. Team Rocketto looking really good right now in the first 3 minutes of the game.
A couple of zones actually broken on their side. Rotations from the side of hashtag Team Drip actually going to the top side now with the Reggie Alecki on their sides. But Animated Eagle going to score 15 there, trying to get as many stacks as possible. Level 9 for the Decidueye as well as the Dragapult and the Trevenant. So level differentials are still starting to get marked right now. 3 points left of energy, so whatever defense you're going to go for, that's going to be a little bit of an overdunk of 20, and Gardevoir actually manages to go as the Unite move is actually taking care of Animated Eagle on the side of the Decidueye. Oh my god, another team fight. It's ripping everything apart.
The hyperspace highway is closed today with 3 members going down right in front of the portal as well. The tap dances is going on in the top lane. Reggie Alecki is the first one there to take the class. Now they're making their way down to the tier 2 and lots of levels going over to the right side as Decidueye goes for an invade here onto the S Cavalier. He's going to grab this red buff for themselves, make their way down to the blue buff as well. Grab that one too. And my gosh, Team Rocketto holding on to this game very strongly.
Yeah, this is a problem if you're going to run that composition with Lucario as well, Reiku. If you fall behind, you are really falling behind. Gardevoir trying to do the best that they can to actually level up. 10s on Guardy, 10s on Lucario, 11s on the side of the carries of Team Rocketto. A differential of 80 energy. They seem to be rotating now everybody else onto the bottom side. They're going to go to that brush and try to see if maybe they can get another pick before the team fight.
Yeah, this A press right now. Oh my gosh, E-Speed able to find the Decidueye in the backline as well. Comfey gonna go ahead and put the Flowery Fields on the floor as well. Lots of KOs coming in. Comfey trying to find a house for itself. Here is finally the tree. The Hoopa is finally unbound, bringing the entire team deck down to the floor. Regirock is still on the floor right now. The only one who's holding on is the tree and the Comfey, and they're still trying to stay up. No, they both go down here, and here comes Team Drip. Finally able to get a objective for themselves as they start to apply some additional pressure onto the tier 1.
Yeah, on Animated Eagle just securing those kills onto the carries, and now Guardy just using that same crowd control to make sure that the damage was not there from Team Rocketto's side. So after the lead that they had from the beginning, it's pretty much a tight game now.
Yeah, that slow bro basically just forgot about the entire first 5 minutes of the game with their amnesia, obviously. And they're also running the surf as well. So one thing that we were talking about before is that the Dragon Dance Dragapult does really well when the other team doesn't have that form of CC. So I'm glad they're actually running that surf, as it's literally the only form of CC to hold down the Dragapult.
Animated Eagle actually trying to go for the jungle debates, but the jungle is pretty much empty. The rotation's actually starting rough by Team Rocketto is going to be pretty much securing the Reggie Alecki. Justice left alone to defend on the bottom side. It's 40 points on the side of Animated Eagle, however, trying to get some damage on the board. And just like that, Team Drip actually goes ahead in points.
Alright, they're going to go ahead and trade goal zones here as Reggie Alecki starts to onto the tier 2. Fire Fields forever as well. Lots of Unite moves coming in here too. 1 KO going down. The Dragapult is down. The tree is being forced back to their side of the map as well. Solid defense by Team Drip here.
Really good defense, and look at all that damage that they actually managed to get onto Team Rocketto's side. Beautifully played by Team Drip, who is starting to actually level it up and go ahead in points. Now, Unite is one of those games that, however advantages that you currently might have, it really just depends on that last team fight for Rayquaza to actually go on ahead. So it's going to be pivotal for Team Drip to secure the defense or secure their respective objective. 5 seconds left for that final Reggie and 30 seconds for Rayquaza.
A couple of these characters hitting important benchmarks here. Level 13s for both the Dragapult and the Decidueye, getting faster autos for themselves. The Gardevoir on the left side able to get to level 14 now, getting really good cooldown reduction for all of its moves, as Team Rocketto able to get the Regirock, the experience, and the defense and special defense buff for their team. Rayquaza, 10 seconds. Chopper.
Yeah, it's going to be super important for them to actually get that extra defense in, especially because of the damage that Team Drip has been able to dish out, right? Now, Team Trip not really being able to defend it, or rather choosing not to, just because it was a Regirock. Usually, the Reggie Steel is something that you would really want to go for. Animated Eagle is still on the flank on the left side, so they need to be careful. And Hoopa's actually starting to rotate. Look at Animated Eagle actually waiting on the right brush, and now Dragon Ball is a little bit
Oh
in
boy.
danger. Of extreme speeds, managing to actually go safely. Unite move on to the Hoopa, and now it's draining battles in the team fights corresponding. That's going to be a Decidueye falling down, and the Unite moves coming in one more time. The Trevenant actually managing to take away the Hoopa. That's a double from the side of the Slowbro, and now Dragon Ball actually going in one more time. Trevenant going down. Is the Comfy going to be able to protect? Oh, it got stuck. They need to be careful now. Oh my god. Oh! Animated Eagle versus the Dragon Ball. It's a 2v1 scenario, and now they're going to be in another kill by the Dragon Ball. They're going to start ripping away the Rayquaza as the Decidueye respawns.
Pokemon Unite, this is more like a ballet class with the Dragon Dances coming in here, getting all those resets here. Can we get the confirmation? Dragon Dance able to get the confirm onto the other dragon on the field too, and here comes Team Raketo with their Rayquaza buffs and a lot of points to score too. Dragon Dance gonna make their way onto the tier 2 as well. Gonna maybe escort their Comfy to the tier 1. In the main goal here, trying to get some points in. 354, 255, 440 now in favor of Team Raketo. 30 seconds left. This is gonna go over to the dances.
Another triple from the side of the Dragapult one more time. Comfy really being an MVP and getting that sustain in. Team Drip surrenders. They're just going to go for the second one. Team Roketo continuing on the momentum from the previous series and taking the first game.
My gosh, that Dragapult right now is just a celebrity on So You Think You Can Dance, but that's, my gosh.
I love that show.
Oh yeah? I know my mom loves to watch that show, but absolutely just putting on a clinic with the Dragon Dance. Dragapult, 10 eliminations for themselves, the MVP with scores and KOs too. My gosh, I think one thing that Team Drip has to find an answer for is going to be that character. And I think it's not that hard of an answer. I think it just has to be in CC. And they don't have a whole lot of it that game.
Seeing the reason why the respect was there, especially for Cocodrilo, who has been pretty much the MVP of the playoffs so far. Outstanding performances throughout. Animated Eagle doing whatever it took to actually try to take them down with that flank, and it looked actually pretty good for Team Drip from the mid game onwards. Raptor Arms actually getting the MVP on their side. If we could take a look at the battle data to see what type of damage we're actually going to go for this time around. But like we mentioned before, the problem of these types of compositions, especially if you want to run the Lucario, is you have to be in the lead for the majority. And Cygnus actually doing 49,000, but I'm pretty sure 40,000 of that healing was done to the Dragapult in that last Rayquaza team fight.
Yeah. This really shows the skill ceiling that is required for Lucario players to really shine. Just really struggling right now with their E-speed resets, finding their way onto the other team. 91k damage going over to the Dragon Dance Dragapult. That's something you want to see. I love to see it. You love to see, off-meta builds or just off-meta characters like getting the opportunity to really shine. Obviously, I've played Decidueye for the last year and a half or so, just a character that struggled to see any competitive spotlight, so I might just be a little biased to seeing characters shine like Decidueye in that Dragapult.
Yeah, absolutely. Going into game 2, you did say that you wanted some more crowd control on the side of hashtag Team Drip. What do you think that they could go for? We saw at the beginning, at least, a lot of Mammoth, Alolan, and Ninetales being played in the same lane. Maybe that's something that they can contest a lot more when it comes to crowd control itself. But what do you think are other opportunities that they have for the respective Pokemon?
That is a very good question. I've played a bit of Dragon Dance Dragapult myself, and some characters that give me a lot of trouble when I was playing that build is the characters like Cinderace, Pikachu. Cinderace obviously has seen a lot of play. Pikachu maybe not so much as of late, but characters that CC like one character but do it really well. The characters that can really shut down characters like, for example, Dragapult or Dodrio too. Obviously, Dodrio is going to be banned here, but
Yeah, I feel like also Snorlax could be another defender if you
Yeah, yeah,
go
that one
for
too. Yeah,
like heavy slam
block is
Snorlax
just a really one.
and block. Yeah, it could be something that they can go for. So far in the ban phase, however, we are seeing pretty much the same things going on. Dodrio, Urshifu, and Espeon being bans that we saw in the first game as well. We could be seeing something different in hashtag Team Drip's side. If you want to ban that Dragapult, I would not blame you. And yeah, as soon as I start saying it, they pick it first. So I'm not gonna say that I predicted it, but I kind of did.
All right. Trevenant, obviously a really good pick here for Team Drip. Going to be pulling that away from Team Raketo. That again is part of their really solid shell that did really well in the last series, and now also in this game as well. So Team Raketo now has 2 picks available to them. Let's see what they do decide to go for. Obviously, Blastoise is on the field too. Sorry about that.
No worries. You saw my my little girls, the two doggies, right on the bed as soon as you put the camera up, so I completely understand. Um, but actually trying to go for that first pick on the side of Team Poketo, they're actually gonna go for the Comfey. Um, whatever defender they're gonna go for, they could take away the Slowbro here because it's still available.
Yeah.
Oh,
Ooh,
but
the
Delphox actually
Delphox.
being
Delphox obviously is a very good pick as well.
well. If
What
you're
do you
dealing
think?
with the Trevenant, I don't blame you as well because you
Mhm,
want that anti healing.
I agree too.
Mm.
All right, so looks like 2 picks coming on the side of Team Drip now. Obviously, want to try to go for maybe a healer, just to keep the Trevenant nice and healthy, and potentially a DPS character as well, right behind it too.
And 30 seconds left on the clock. I'm trying to get some more stuff going. Resets the timer just a little bit for hashtag Team Drip. They do have 2 straight picks here, so they could have something to try to shut down the Delphox. You could put the Gardevoir here as well. You have 2 straight picks here, something that can contest the other special attacker. They are going to go for the Hoopa. Good support here. Hyperspace Portal, going to be super efficient when it comes to actually having their play along. You could pick the special attacker here. It would be I would pick the Guardy here. Opportunity actually opting to go for the
Mm,
Decidueye. So it's stealing it away from Team Rogeto's side too.
all right, this is most likely going to be a defender, possibly a Mamoswine pick, or maybe even a Snorlax. Mew is actually going to be picked as well. Okay, so
So a
probably going
bit
to
of
be more support or defender oriented for the latter half of their pick phase here for Team Raketo.
which could be kind of good or bad because most of the time that you really want to prioritize the first picks, you really go for whatever is the best right now. And having still Slowbro on the board, having a couple of supports, now we are seeing the Gardevoir actually banned on the side of Team Roqueto. Peeking to attackers super early in the stages of the draft could be a little bit of a misplay if they don't get what they want on those last 2 picks.
I think for Team Drip, this might be a Blastoise ban as well. That could be an option for Team Raketo to go with.
Mm-hmm.
Um, who gets the next pick here? So it's going to
The
be the
next
ban from Team Drip, and then the next pick is going to be Team Drip.
No, it's gonna be Roqueto, and then
Team
Team
Drip.
Drip gets 2 straight picks. They actually opt to ban the Slowbro, which I agree
Mm,
with wholeheartedly. It really forces Roqueto to actually go for well. They still have solid defenders all around, so it's not gonna
yeah.
matter. Like you have Snorlax, Mamoswine, and Blastoise still, but they're opting for Mr. Mime. That's just his comfort pick for sure. And then now Team Drip has 2 straight picks.
Mhm. All right, most likely, yep. There goes. They're
Yep.
going to go ahead and secure the Blastoise for themselves. Really solid front line and good healing with the Hoopa too. So this is really just going to be a protect the president with the Decidueye. Let's see what they decide to go with for the last one.
Starting off one more time, we could get something with some sustain for the lanes, just to not give so much responsibility to the Decidueye to rack up the damage, and a Blastoise as well. More of an all-rounder than a defender, depending on the build that you're going to go for, right? So the damage is still going to be there, but I would like to get some more offense in if I would be in Hashtag Team Drip's position.
Hmm. All right, taking a little bit of time.
Yep.
Glaceon is going to be a really solid jungling option as well. Could be also played in lane, but obviously Glaceon has a really strong level 5 going into the first objectives.
It makes all the sense in the world to actually run the Glaceon. I was thinking more of something along the lines of a Sylveon could have been something here, especially if you want that presence in the lane that you can go for.
Mhm.
Now, Team Roqueto needs a defender here because there is no defender on their side. So Snorlax would definitely be the pick, or either that or the Mamoswine. Or they could go for something a lot more conventional and go for Greedent or Crustle, like we saw in the previous game. But actually,
Oh
opting for
my
the
gosh.
T-Tar here. Ooh. Ooh. Ooh.
You know, that's actually that's actually a pretty good pick, in my opinion. You know, obviously we're gonna be relying a lot on late game damage for the T-Tar, but if the T-Tar is able to get going early game as well, you know, looking on the side of Team Drip as well, they don't have a whole lot of CC on their side. I mean, they have Trevenant obviously, and then Blastoise is most likely going to be running the Rapid Spin build, but you know, T-Tar doesn't really care about any of those with Ancient Power, so. So Glaceon and Decidueye, they gotta be careful of the big lizard because Tyranitar at level 13, level 14 with a Comfy, my gosh.
Yeah, no hindrances on their side as well. And we're seeing a little bit of the commissioner actually trying to do something here, but I'm not sure. It should be the T-Tar there, right? Okay, no, all good. All good on their side. So, yeah, Ancient Power could be super good here. I see a lot of Adesu. He's actually one of my favorite players in the European scene, and he actually likes to run Sand Tomb rather than Ancient Power on the side of T-Tar, which I really like when it comes to actually defending zones too.
Mhm.
But a lot of people just prefer Ancient Power, and I don't blame them. But I just like I just like Sand Tomb because I like
Sandstorm's
Adesu.
definitely good for like just brawling in the front line for a very long period of time. You get that, you know, special defense and defense buff when the Sandstorming is as well, pulling things closer to you, having that little bit of CC as well.
And if you have the Comfey as well, if you're looking to actually, and the more I see it, I still prefer kind of what hashtag Team Drip likes to do because I really like to have those front lines in. Team Roqueto has a little bit of trouble in the sense that I feel like if they don't get going from the beginning, they could be in trouble. Because I feel like Team Drip's front line could really do a number of whatever it is that they want to do in the team fights.
Coco Drillo right now showing their versatility with multiple hyper carry characters. Last game was that Dragapult. This time is the T-Tar, especially in the late game. Team Drip right now on the fence with their foot in the door at the moment here with their playoff livelihood on the fence here. Team Roqueto on the verge of moving on to the last set of the night if they're able to secure this, running the gauntlet quite literally from round one, eliminating Team Super Squirtle Squad, and now potentially wiping Team Drip off the map too.
This is a type of excitement that we were looking for this particular format, and the opportunity for Team Roqueto is right there in their grasp. But if I know hashtag Team Drip, they are not going to go down without a fight. Animated Eagle actually running the Blastoise is going to be super important. Squirtle's going to with the Glaceon, Cloud with the Decidueye, Hoopa being on the side of Tech. And when you have the tree, you're pretty much going to win the game. So let's see if it's going to go down for game 2.
Phantom sporting that dad shirt going down into the bottom lane. It is winter time here in the United States, but it is summertime here on Thea Sky Ruins for that Trevenant as they go ahead and send the the Larvitar into the jungle. And something that we've seen before, the Hoopa gonna sport that red buff heading up to the top lane, and then the Glaceon in the jungle too. In the top lane we have the Comfy and the Mew as well. Hoopa coming up from the jungle from that red buff, trying to stop the Mew from getting them stacks as well. And let's see. Comfy going to go ahead and retreat back to their Mew, keeping them nice and healthy here. Going to be sporting that Electro Ball and the boosted auto in the early game here. Electro Ball, obviously a really good tool to confirm objectives, confirm early game farm as well. Junglers heading down to the bottom lane. Oh, nope, heading up to the top lane.
Yeah, stacks on the side of the Mew too. Gonna get as much damage as possible with those special attack specs. Now rotation is gonna go downward one more time. The Rowlet racking up some more damage. Crocodilo coming in. It's a 3v3 and 2v2 on the bottom side.
Phantom right now is going to be retreating back to the go zone here. We do have a Pupitar evolution as well, obviously going through the jungle too. Mew sporting that Comfy pocket, the ring around itself here. These two struggling a little bit against the ranged attack on the right side right now. Rowlet, still a Rowlet, Phantom, still a Phantom as well.
Not that bad, at least on the bottom side from hashtag Team Drip. Differential of only 10. A little bit of a lead there. Hoopa just gonna teleport in time, get some more healing done. Comfy and Mute trying to get some more of levels in and experience necessary. 15 seconds left for the 8-minute mark. Everybody's gonna have to start rotating to the middle.
Elvis is on the field now with the Elvis outfit here with the Trevenant here. Looks like we're navigating our way to the middle. Pupitar moving their way up to the central area. Gonna go ahead and contest over the Swablues in the middle. Solar Beam hitting their mark there. Looks like a lot of experience going over to the Mew as well. Boosted auto. Here comes the rest of the team as well. And they got here surfing their way back to their home. Glaceon trying to apply some pressure here as well with the Hoopa and the War Turtle behind their back as well. Looks like, once again, pretty conservative game so far. Not a whole lot of KOs going for either side, but here comes Team Drip trying to apply some pressure here. No KOs coming just yet, but forced back to their tier 2. Comfy trying to keep them alive. Solar Beam hitting their mark onto the Dartrix. Dartrix on a pixel as well. Lots of damage coming in here, but no KOs coming in as the Delphox does get their evolution at level 6.
Yeah, these are the fights that we're going to definitely expect at the beginning of the game. Hoopa just making sure everybody retreats, heals up, and does resets. It's going to be a lot easier for Team Drip to continue on fighting just because we can get those resets in with the Hoopa. So Team Drip has to be careful, especially when not overextending. Water Spout, Rapid Spin moving in, but not quite enough damage for Animated Eagle's side. He's going to be able to teleport just in time. The Reggies have spawned. Let's see what the bottom one is because I can't see it right now. If we could just move the camera just a little bit, and that's a Reggie steal. Everybody has to be in here.
Yeah. You know, one thing that hasn't been said yet is that even though it's been a stalemate, we still don't have a T-Tar on the map here. It's been basically a 4v5 as the Pupitar come in here with the Dark Pulse as well here. Really has to oh my gosh, the Spirit Shackle hitting their mark there, but the Comfey keeping the Pupitar alive here, trying to apply some pressure here. Finally, they're able to push Team Roquetto out from the bottom lane as well. T-Tar obviously is not yet fully activated. They're sitting at about 8.5 right now. Comfey does not have a home. A host to attach to does get sent back home. Huge 34 going into the bot lane, and here comes the T-Tar.
Yeah, the rotations on the side of Team Drip trying to impede that level up from their side. Not going to be quite effective, but Crocodile's already level 9. The differentials are not going to be as marked as that because we do have Delphox in level 8. And a couple of level 7s on the side of Team Drip. Glaceon, however, level 10. So it's going to be super important for them to actually get that stuff going.
Yeah. Obviously, in order to be a T-Tar comp, you need to have a really strong early game, and I don't think Team Drip has the best early game right now. Oh, as T-Tar and the Comfy does go down as well, with the autos coming in from the Decidueye and the Glaceon giving confirmation there. Here comes the rest of Team Drip right now, trying to apply some pressure, going the other way here. Mr. Mime finding rapid spins to the face at the moment here as they go down as well. 64 onto the point as well, trying to grab this Regieleki for themselves here. Here comes the rest of the ADCs. Delphox sitting in the wings, trying to find an entry point here as Glaceon able to get the confirmation onto the Regieleki.
Yeah, I feel like there was an overextension from the side of the T-Tar and the Comfy. They tried that they thought that they could have that secure ready, but they were on there versus every single one of the members in hashtag Team Drip who do get enough damage being forced out from the Unite move from the Delphox, but they still managed to get that upper zone. So it's 21 to 18. Team Rocket needs to be careful when it comes to those team fights, because yes, the T-Tar is powerful, but it's still not a level 13 T-Tar, level 14 T-Tar. So you need to pace yourself.
Yeah, Team Drip, despite not having a Comfy, looking pretty comfortable in the early game here. 221 to 18. In favor of Team Drip right now with really strong positioning onto the Southern Reggie, the Basement Reggie. Another Reggie steal on the field at the moment here, but look at this. Defenders way up zoning their attack carries in the back line, able to get the Reggie steal for themselves really easy. Here comes a big Spirit Shackle hitting the Mew there, is not able to get home. Comfey, just another Spirit Shackle coming in as well, able to get the confirmation there as well. Spirit Shackles are hitting their mark. Let's go to Decidueye as they go ahead and make their way to the central area to steal all the jungle from out underneath Team Roquetto's noses.
And you can hear the excitement whenever the Decidueye hits that Spirit Shackle on the side of Reiku, one of the best Decidueyes that we have in North America right now. We are moving towards the middle lane right now. Cocodrilo's still falling a little behind, only level 11. Glaceon already level 10, level 12 rather. Level 11s for Blastoise and Trevenant. Level 10s for Decidueye and Hoopa on that side. In the meantime, we still have a couple of level 9s on the side of Team Rocket. So level differential still in favor of hashtag Team Drip, and 10 seconds left for the Regieleki.
Yeah, Team Drip doing a fantastic job at keeping their Glaceon, who has now hit that level 13 benchmark, getting access to increased cooldown reduction as well. But I really think the MVPs right now are this Trevenant and this Blastoise, just keeping those hyper carries safe and comfortable behind them.
And moving in forward with the Regieleki, another objective secured by hashtag Team Drip. Look at that snipe on the Spirit Shackle, taking half of the life from the Delphox. T-Tar trying to move in and get some stuff going, but honestly, the DPS on the side of hashtag Team Drip is being very annoying when it comes to actually trying to get some extensions into those team fights.
The hyperspace portal is going to send the entire team to our rendezvous back in the main portal, main goal zone. 2:30 left onto the field, 30 seconds left before Rayquaza spawns onto the map here. Once again, take a look at this positioning in the bottom lane. Trevenant perfectly aligned in this cross bush. Decidueye, Glaceon in the back line. Mew potentially looking for a steal here, trying to get some vision for the team. Looks like they're just going to go ahead and abandon this objective as they get some positioning onto the central area. Right now, level differentials is quite large between the two teams right now.
Yeah, it's pretty marked, and they try to get some stuff going, or momentum rather, to get rid of the Blastoise. It's not going to work out for them. Hyperspace Portal actually sending 2 members of hashtag Team Drip onto the top side. And now level 12 only on the T-Tar, getting ready for the Rayquaza fight. But look at that flank on the side of the Trevenant! Solar Beams actually coming in, and they're just picking Team Roqueto apart.
Oh, while that was happening, though, the T-Star with the Comfey is finding the Glaceon in the back line. Here comes the true damage as well. Mew is going to be able to find that KO onto the Glaceon as well. 3 down for the side of Team Drip. 1 down. Glaceon's going to be coming back onto the floor. Spin to win is coming here, trying to put some work into the Tyranitar at the moment here, trying to get the KO here. Mew is also sitting on a Pixel as well. Who's going to get these KOs? Here comes the Decidueye as well with the boosted autos. He's going to be able to pick up both the Tyranitar and the Comfey. Lots of KO timers on the right side of the map. 4 down. The only one that's left is this Delphox with the Dream. Here comes the Rip. The Rip has begun onto the Rayquaza. They don't even need this, but they're just going to go ahead and secure the win here.
I mean, there are 1 versus 5 right now. Animated Eagle showing up and showing out with the Blastoise. Look at that DPS and all that damage that goes with it all the time, racking up as much as possible. Every single type of points that they're going to go for, it's going to be all psychological damage. Just keep on dunking on their side. You think we were scared in the first game? Now we're going to go to 3, and the run back is real for hashtag Team Drip.
Yeah, Team Roqueto obviously a really strong showing in the first game here. This is the opposite side here, potentially showing the weakness maybe in the Tyranitar, but more so the strength in the defenders for Team Drip. As I would say the Glaceon and the Decidueye had a pretty comfortable game the entire time. I think the battle was really the Trevenant and the Blastoise and the Comfey against the world in that one.
Yeah, and the flank from the Trevenant to actually start off with the team fight, getting the Unite move on quite a few members of Team Roqueto, really sealed the deal onto that last team fight for hashtag Team Drip. We're seeing Squirtles then racking up the MVP, but Raptor Arms actually getting the same amount of points for that MVP. If we could take a look at that battle data whenever possible, Commissioner. I feel like Animated Eagle actually racked up a lot of damage onto the carries on the side of Team Roqueto, and they never really felt comfortable, but more importantly, the T-Tar never came online. Yes, it reached level 9, but it was, I think, a little too little and too late, and Team Roqueto just kept getting caught off guard in those team fights throughout the course of the match.
Yeah, Blastoise is just a really difficult character to deal with if you have like squishies that aren't protected as well. Mime has its form of CC, and T-Tar has a little bit of CC itself, but really if you get that rapid spin in we get that rapid spin spinning, rapid spin going, that Delphox and that Mew is really going to struggle.
Yeah, I agree with you. We're seeing 62,000 damage, pretty much the Pokemon with the most damage on either team's side by Animated Eagle. And we're seeing the type of pressure that a Blastoise can bring to you if you do not have an escape option. So this is exactly why I mentioned beforehand, Reiku, Buzzwole being played into the Blastoise can be pretty pivotal if you want to continue on to the next stage, I feel.
Obviously, this is going to be a huge adaptation for Team Roqueta going into the third game now. But obviously, Team Drip coming up to the challenge here, being kind of wiped in that first game, and now coming in the other way. Now the ball is in Team Roqueta's court to try to figure out an answer to this front line, the Blastoise and the Trevenant. We might be seeing some defender bans coming into this next pick ban phase.
Yeah, a lot of priority has to go into the supports to the defenders. They're just too good in this current meta, Reiku. And I did mention beforehand in that second draft, picking your attackers so early really starts blaring out a couple of weaknesses that you're going to have eventually in the draft. And most of the stuff that they really wanted to go for eventually just got banned out. No Slowbro this time around. No other defenders actually play from their side. And you can't really afford to not have any type of defense on your side if you are trying to play in this current meta and in a hashtag Team Drip that seems in form to fight against Darkora. With that said, final draft for game number 3. They start off with the solid ban onto the Dragapult.
Dragapult, obviously targeted ban onto onto the obvious really strong player with the Dragapult on Team Roqueta's side. Let's see who they decide to ban here. It might be a Trevenant ban, potentially a Blastoise ban. I believe Team Roqueta in the first series they banned Blastoise. Am I correct?
Yeah, they did. That was one of the bans that they did have, but they
So-
usually rock the Urshifu first and then the Espeon usually with the second ban.
Mhm.
Starting off the timer one more time. 1 minute on the clock. And the Dozier actually being banned on the side of Team Rocket, so that's an interesting ban. We haven't seen Team Drip actually rock the Dozier, so I'm pretty curious.
Yeah, might be just be a safe pick as well. Team Drip gonna have obvious access to the first pick after they get the ban here. But once again, the ball right now is in Team Roqueta's court. Glad that you mentioned earlier that defenders are in a really good. Oh yeah, wow, a Decidueye ban. Love to see it. So the big hyper carriers are going to be banned for Team Roqueta most likely. Here comes an Espeon coming in as a first pick for Team Drip. Obviously, Espeon, really strong character right now, getting access to increased range. And it's Psyshock, Comfey Tree.
Comfy Tree has to be it. You gotta pick the tree here.
It's
Yeah.
it's done well for you in the past. Why change something that ain't broken?
If it ain't broke, don't fix it, right, Reiko?
Yeah, broke for you. Broken for you, definitely.
Preach. Yeah, but the Trevenant
So-
has to go here. I'm expecting maybe you gotta go for the Defender here if you want to go slow, bro. Completely understandable if you want to go Delphox for anti-healing. That's also another pick.
Also got Hoopa to be available. There's a lot of support characters available right now. Obviously, once again, Clefable is not on the roster as it does have a bug at the moment here. Hoopa is going to be their primary source of healing with the hyperspace portal back to main. And potentially a defender pick here for Team Drip. See what they decide. They go for the spin to win with the rapid spin Blastoise. And most likely for Team Roqueta, this is going to be some sort of AD carry, special attacker.
Yeah, they don't have a
Well-
Dragon Ball and they don't have the Decidueye. So the attacker pool from Team Rocket is actually getting quite pinched. Oh my lord and Jesus.
We got another bird. You ban two birds, another one comes in its place.
That's a Cramorant pick right there and a ban onto the Delphox for Team Roqueto. Pretty interesting. Pretty interesting pick here.
I gotta say though, Cramorant with like a comfy attached to it, and if they are running the dive and air slash build, it's a character that also just stays on the field for a very long period of time as well. Hung rounder more than it does like a or I guess sorry, a special attack.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see what they decide to go with. They can also go with the I think dive and air slash is also a possibility as well.
Yeah.
Some really good mobility.
There's also the Surf Hurricane build, which was very popular at the beginning, but because of the nerf that they received, a lot of
Yeah.
people are more opting for the mobility that a dive air slash can actually give you. So yeah, but it's a pick that we don't see that often, especially not in this league either, or in competitive for that matter. So Cramorant being picked here is pretty interesting. Mr. Mime being locked in. If again, pretty much a comfort pick for Justice overall. Double support comp from the side of hashtag hashtag Team Roqueto and hashtag Team Drip now getting 2 picks in a row for their final two.
Mm-hmm. T-Tar. T-Tar is going to go ahead and get banned for a Team Drip, for obviously Team Raketo. It's a really interesting ban because I feel like T-Tar in that last game really just didn't have a whole lot of mileage
Mm-hmm.
for them. But obviously, Team Drip right now doesn't have a whole lot of mileage to deal with a T-Tar if the Raketo has that available to them. So we've got the Slowbro coming in here.
Yep.
Most likely an 80 carry coming, maybe Greninja or some sort of other attacker coming in here.
Give me the bunny. I
Yeah,
want the Cinder here. I want the Cinder here.
I want like a really interesting pick, like a Zoroark or something.
Oh, that would be something like an Absol or something here.
Absol
Actually,
or a
gonna get those
Zoroark.
burst options.
Yeah,
A Glaceon.
going back to
Okay,
the
so
Glaceon pick. Yeah,
it worked really well for them on
two
that
of these.
second game too. So
Going to go ahead and rely a lot of their damage on the three special attackers on their team: the Espeon, Blastoise, and the their entire team is special attackers. What am I saying?
mm-hmm. So a
Special
lot of
attackers is in a really good spot right now.
yes, and especially with the Slick Spoon now as well, just giving them some extra magic penetration, if you will, or special attack, or special defense penetration, or whatever you want to call it. And they
Here's your
actually
buddy.
round up. There is the Cinderace. There is the Cinder, and if they pick a Cinder, I'm forced to go for Team Rocket. No, with no. So double attackers this time, so a special attacker and a hyper carry on their side, double support comp. From the compositions, which one do you prefer?
Honestly, I think the character to watch here once again is going to be that Blastoise. I
Yeah.
think it's going to be that Blastoise. You know, obviously Cramorant and Cinderace, they do have better forms of mobility, but those abilities aren't a cooldown. And Rapid Spin, it's a very long ability. And so if that Blastoise is able to find those kind of squishier characters in the back, despite there being a Comfey, because I'm pretty sure the Comfey is most likely going to be attached to the Trevenant or on the Mr. Mime for most of the game.
Yeah, I agree with you. If I were to pick a composition, I would prefer to have that hashtag Team Drip comp. Honestly, just because we have those two defenders on the front line, and for some reason, Team Rocket seems to be having a lot of trouble dealing like enough DPS to take care of said tanks. But we are seeing the Trevenant actually picked up, but it's not going to be Cocodrilo picking up the Trevenant. It's actually going to go to Mordu. So again, the flexibility of players actually picking in between them. So Cocodrilo is actually going to go full carry mode, picking the Cinderace and probably going jungle as well.
Once again, everybody, both of these teams have their playoff lives on the line, going once again to another Game 3 situation. This is going to be the second series of the night here. Team Drip on the left side, Team Raketo, Team Orange on the right side. Whoever wins this game is going to be facing Dark Aura, who's waiting patiently in the background, watching both of these teams, making their adjustments, taking their notes on both of these teams. And once again, we got another Game 3. So Team Raketo once again in the high pressure situation. Team Drip obviously in the driver's seat at the moment here, really wiping the floor with Team Roqueta in game 2. We got a game 3.
Yep, 2 game 3s in a row for Team Roqueto. You got to start thinking if maybe fatigue might be starting to settle in for the respective team. But like you mentioned, Dark Aura is still waiting on the wings to see who is the victor of this last match. The commissioner should be getting a little bit of a background check on Dark Aura ready, just so they can give some more information on how they went throughout the season. But that's going to be a little later on. Right now, we're seeing Cramorant and Mr. Mime on the bottom side, Comfy and the Tree on the top side. Squirtle actually getting some stacks in, probably for the special attack classes, getting some extra damage in for the Water Spout Rapid Spin.
Yeah, that Squirtle is getting some real big mileage, most likely getting 3, potentially even 4 stacks for themselves, uncontested in the top lane. Glaceon making their way down to the bottom lane. That Reboot heading up to the top lane as well. Junglers went ahead and split. We got the 2Vs with the Slow Poke in the bot lane. We have the Phantom, once again the Elvis Phantom in the top lane as well. Hoopa gonna make their way back home, grab a berry for itself. Let's see, let's take a look at this bottom lane as the Swablu and the Altaria spawns in the middle here. We do have the Mr. Mime with XP share and the Cramorant too. Whirlpool's being placed. It is a Hurricane Cramorant as well. Gonna go for that more ranged oriented build as well. Elvis trying to get a stack for themselves here. Is going to go ahead and cap a small 2 into the top lane, getting a stack for themselves. Hoopa making their way. Looks like the 2V is making their way up to the top lane. It is a 4-player push up in here in the top lane. Slowbro is going to grab that Slowbro evolution, trying to make their way back home. The Psychic and the light screen has something to say about it. Applying some pressure here. Hoopa is going to send their team back home. 2Vs are going to make their way back to their lanes.
Yeah, a lot of pressure onto that Elvis, but not quite being able to get anything is super important for them. We still have 5 seconds left for the 8-minute mark of the Altaris and Swab. That's why we're seeing the rotations of every single member right going in the middle. The Cramorant, however, is still on the bottom side, so they need to be careful when actually trying to overextend. But this is going to go fully to hashtag Team Drip, so all of that extra experience is going to be super important.
Yeah, 4 members showing up to the central area here. Cramorant just kind of twiddling their thumbs in the bottom lane with their top hat. Surf Hurricane, they do have both abilities available to them. EVs making their way back home through the hyperspace highway back to the main. Trying to apply some pressure here. It comes level 7 now. Cinderace having access to their Blaze Kick too. Hoopa does go down there. 2Vs making their way back home. Once again, we're seeing this Hoopa just getting a lot of mileage out of their hyperspace highways with their decreased cooldowns and the ability to make their way back home and then back onto the field again.
Part of the reason why you actually picked it as your underrated Pokemon right now is because you have that extra mobility and extra healing for the extended team fights. And now Team Rocket actually forced to stay back. And we're seeing the Slowbro actually moving in with the Surf, trying to get that damage in. We're seeing Power Swap actually picked up with the Cramorant. Registeel just about to go down. Let's see who can contest it. And it's going to be in favor of hashtag Team Drip. Espeon putting in the work, but at what cost? A team fight is going to go in one more time. Glaceon is going to take the Cinderace down. And now the Hurricane actually getting the knock-up onto 3 members of hashtag Team Drip. Are pretty much a tied team fight, but Trevenant actually trying to make it unequal. So pretty even, a little bit in favor of Team Rocket, though, I would say.
Yeah, I believe so as well, as the Glacial Stage was being placed onto the field, but really didn't get any mileage out of it as well. Going to be forced back to their jungle to try to get their Unite move back on. And most likely have the Energy Amp, so they should be able to get it back for the next engagement or so. We do have a couple of Unite moves available. Blastoise is fully activated. Same thing with the Cinderace, trying to make their way back home. Does not make it to the Citrus Berry. Here comes the spin to win once again. Rapid spin, putting in some work, able to get the KO onto the Cinderace, applying some pressure, breaking the tier 1 in the top lane, and now pulling back to get the Regieleki.
And actually, Hyperspace Portal giving a lot more healing onto the Slowbro. Regieleki is going to go to hashtag Team Drip side as well. Animated Eagle securing that one with the Water Spout Rapid Spin. Now trying to put some damage in Team Roqueto is they still have an advantage in energy, but level differentials are pretty much even. Right now, Cramorant forced to use the eject button and manages to get out safely.
Yeah, it looks like Team Drip right now going to start navigating their way down to the bottom, where they're going to find a waiting Mr. Mime here, trying to apply some pressure. Still 80 points on this lane. Showtime trying to defend their lane as well. Hoopa is going to send the Espeon back home. They're going to go and cap a small 8 for the Hoopa. Here comes the Comfy as well, trying to keep their defender alive, or their support defender alive as well. Flowery Fields forever, trying to keep their Mime alive, nice and healthy, full 50 or 100% now. Here comes the remainder of the team. Cramorant coming in to support their defender as well.
Flower Fields forever actually being a little behind, I would say. If you were putting closer to the zone, maybe it would have been a little bit more beneficial, but it's still a good trade for them. I'm not going to question it. Regieleki does manage to go into the top side, the top zone, and that's another Reggie steal that's going to be contested by both teams. Now, Rapid Spin trying to go for it. Amarant's, look at all that damage going in, but it is secured by the Espeon.
Yeah.
The steal is, and Cramorant is going to go down.
Yeah, the positioning on that Gatling Gulp missile coming out of the Cramorant looked really good. They also had the Comfey on it as well, but the Hoopa and Brown just bringing the entire team down, it just wasn't enough. Here comes a huge, I believe that's a 46 going into the bottom lane as well, 26, and a huge overcap as well. Yeah, that's a 46. 237, 120 in favor of Team Drip right now. We do have another Regieleki spawning in the next 15 seconds here, but that Glaceon hitting that 13 benchmark, getting access to increased cooldown for all of its abilities.
Yeah, in the meantime, Cocodrilo trying to get some damage in onto the Slowbro, but that's a 1v3 scenario. Oh, managing to actually get away safely, but it was a very dangerous position to be in if you're going to be the Cinderace. Hashtag Team Drip securing another objective one more time, and it goes to the Glaceon, which is so important as well to actually try to get that level 14, level 15 as much as possible. Getting that last hit onto the Glaceon. Another team fight going to move in. Meanwhile, the jungle is going to be invaded by hashtag Team Drip. Team Rocket forced to defend the Reggie.
Yeah, this Hoopa is just health management of its team right now. It's just S tier. It's just doing such a good job at keeping everyone healthy. There it goes again, once again, sending the Glaceon and the Hoopa back home. Glaceon's going to go ahead and head back into the jungle to get some more farm here. And just like that, you know, getting a lot of experience for their team on the other side of the map, and then going back to your side with the Hoopa.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. 10 levels for the supports, 11 for the Cramorant, 11 for the Mime, 12 still for the Cinderace, level 14 for the Glaceon right now. And Blaster's actually just about to hit that level 13 as well, which is going to be so important for those late team fights too. Now about 5 seconds left on the board for the final Reggie, and it seems like
Is it a steal? Oh, it's a Regirock. Regirock, obviously, not the best one, but obviously still getting a Reggie for your team is going to be advantageous going into the latter half of the game. Nice overcap there. Looks like that was a 43 over in the Tier 1 for Team Riketto. 237, 209 scores are getting a little bit closer, but the levels are getting further apart. Level 14 onto the Glaceon, 13 now for the Blastoise, getting access to more defense and special defense with that defensive spike for the team. Lots of Unite moves available. The tournament life, the playoff life is for these teams. Rayquaza spawns onto the map. Chopper, take it away.
Yep, and the Slowbro actually giving a lot of vision to every single member of Team Rocket right now, and actually trying to move in right now. Surfs are going to come in. Unite move by the Glaceon. Unite move actually used by the Comfy, and now they put the tree standing still. Unite move from the Hoopa, and now the Blasters actually managing to take out the Cramorant. Cinderace on the back line trying to take care of the carries. That time, force run, Cocodrilo, run! Double kill from the side of the Glaceon. Look at him trying to get from everybody. It's a 1v2 scenario now, but it gets cleaned up. That's an ace from the side of hashtag Team Drip, and in between them, I don't think they're going to be able to take this Rayquaza, so they have to reset, and we're expecting another team fight.
Yeah, another team fight coming in here, obviously going in the way of Team Drip, but this is going to be a clean brawl for the last minute. 237 to 209, no Unite moves available on the field. It looks like Espeon right now is trying to get that Solar back onto the field as well. Glaceon is just coming back, 1 more minute left, and we still got one more fight ahead of him.
Now, Animated Eagle actually trying to move into Cocodrilo's side. It's still in the brush and trying to get that flank in. They are trying to bait out something, and beautiful move actually going into the Rayquaza section to avoid that Rapid Spin Water Spout. And 40 seconds left on the board. They have a target, and it is Slowbro, and they managed to take out one of the defenders on the side of hashtag Team Drip. We are seeing the confusion coming in. The Suns are not going to hit anybody, but look at the damage from
Oh my
animated.
gosh.
Oh, actually taking down two of them. Cocodrilo trying to do the best that they can, and now the different scenario, Espeon and Glaceon making sure that Justice runs away too. And one more Unite move coming in. Showtime from the side of Mr. Mime. They both go down. 10
my
left on the board. That's going to be just a couple of more points in with 10 seconds left. Hashtag Team Drip secures the victory, and they have a date with Dark Aura in the final round of the Gauntlet.
Man, that is obviously just the differential between having a character with a really low cooldown with their Unite move, Espeon able to get their Psychic Soul Lair activated for that last engagement, able to get themselves just that little bit of extra mileage going into that last team fight.
So superbly played. Squirtle's then getting the MVP, just securing those last few hits in, but it was really the Blastoise show for hashtag Team Drip. Animated Eagle did so much work, especially recognizing that most of the members on the side of Team Rocket were all grouped together. That was the perfect opportunity for him to go for that rapid spin water spout and just wrecked absolutely every single one of the carries from the side of Team Rocket. So really good showing.
Mm-hmm. Wow, what a night of games that we have so far, Chopper. Another game 3 going down to the wire once again. Team Raketo finding their way through the first series, falling down here in the second round of the playoffs. Really strong showing from this team. Keep your head held high because he put on a show for everybody.
Really, really impressive from the side of Team Roqueto, Cocodrilo, and the rest of the crew really trying to give whatever they took. Hashtag Team Drip, however, managing to get that run back. They wanted this badly, and they managed to take it, so good on them for sure. And they will be still playing one more match tonight, Reiku. One more match is what we have left tonight in day number 2 of the playoffs. Now, Commissioner, if you are there, you give us some more insight on what Dark Aura likes to do, or their team members, if you could, please.
Commissioner might be taking
a little bit of a break, which is perfectly fine.
Okay.
Not a
Yeah,
problem.
sorry about
Not a
that.
problem at all.
So we have Dark Aura versus hashtag Team Drip to finally go out for the last final 4 going into the tournament. Dark Aura is definitely a team not to mess with. My team and them have duked it out many, many times in even UCS last year, and even on the ladder, we've seen them multiple times, and we got better because of them. And I can always say this team is definitely not something to mess with. Get Yoshi is just a dominant jungler and can easily just literally beat everybody single-handedly. Has a great Greninja, probably one of the best ones in the league. But that isn't the only Pokemon that they can play. They're very good on Glaceon as well. You can't outban him, so I wouldn't try it. Other team members that are on there can't stop him. Has been very dominant in the top lane role as far as all-rounders, and exactly what the name says. You just can't stop him. He's literally probably one of the best players as far as being in the top lane. This team right now is second place in the league, so having to fight for that spot going into the final 4 is very tough for them, obviously, because we had different divisions at the start. So unfortunately, they were in a very, very tough division with with hashtag Team Drip and Ikigai no Tsurugi that you'll see later on. And
Jungle Griefers as well was in that division too.
Yeah, Jungle Griefers was also as well in that division. But so Ikigai no Tsurugi, they were 7-1. Dark Aura was 6-2, or not 7-1. They were 9-1. Dark Aura was 8-2. So they, like I said, this team was second place for a reason, and they're going to probably dominate for this and say, "Hey, we are second place. We're gonna go into that top lane." But as we've said before, hashtag Team Drip is now ready. But Dark Aura, if they saw any of the games, they knew who they can ban. and who they could probably target and prioritize these bans towards,
Mhm.
which is why I love
Mhm.
the 3 ban system. You can easily target ban, and once you get into these, kind of let obviously a big Pokemon go through, like as we've seen as Tree go through. I've been very surprised to see Comfy and Tree always go through, or it's always their banned. So I'm kind of interested to see having one or the other band and all of these comps completely change. Dragapult earlier was just dominant and being just a nuisance themselves. I am very, very excited to hopefully get this started, and I believe we will be here shortly.
Yeah, thank you
Mhm.
so much for the commissioner to actually give us a little bit more insight on the teams in North America's side. And Dark Aura, a little bit of a chip on their shoulder because we had two divisions. Only the first place teams actually get that bye to go directly into that top four double elimination bracket. And the other team that actually made it on the other side of the division was actually War Legion, who got first
Mhm.
place in their respective division. And I feel like Dark Aura has something to say about that. If they manage to get to this top four, the next battle that they have is against War Legion. So they really want to prove that they're at least top two in the league right now. So there's a lot of beautiful storytelling to be played out right now, Draco.
Mhm. And it looks like both of the teams are just about ready to get going here. I hope everyone is still with us there in the background. We have still an exciting night of Pokemon Unite left for you. Last series of the night is going to be Team Drip, who just won their second, or I guess their first series of the night in the second round, going up against Team Dark Aura. Both of these teams, as you were saying in the beginning of the night, Chopper, are two big powerhouses in this playoff series. And even though we have this this fun rule set of a multiple ban system, the diversity and the versatility of these players to pick up any character that they decide to choose and do such a fantastic job with them. You guys are gonna have a good set here.
I feel so too. We're gonna have another banger series right on deck, and you can see it right in the bracket. Right, round number three, Dark Aura and Team Drip. The winner of that actually faces War Legion, and we finally have a top four that's gonna go into a double elimination bracket, and we continue on to the next section of the playoffs. So it's gonna be super excited. A lot of people actually go for and read in the observations are gonna be get Yoshi, like the commissioner actually mentioned, as well as Can't Stop Him. That's another one. But on the side of Team Drip, we already saw him, Animated Eagle with the Blastoise, and just trying to get everything in as much as possible. It's going to be super pivotal for them.
Mhm. I know Get Yoshi has been probably hearing my voice for the last 2 hours, but if you can hear me now, I hope you play your Decidueye. Get Yoshi was actually one of my team captains in my most recent tournament, and he did an outstanding job. So if you can hear me, I hope the
Yeah,
owl
get
comes
Yoshi
out to play.
CGI is definitely no joke. And we are, ladies and gentlemen, finally going into the next and final set of the night. Dark Core versus Team Drip. Team Drip going for the first pick and ban. First ban on their side. We have not seen Urshifu all night. It could be something that can change depending on the target bans that we would see from the side of Dark Aura. Um, Other than that, we pretty much seen what we expected so far. Or do you think that maybe there's another secret pick that they could go for, Reiku?
We shall see it here. I think the bans for the most part have been pretty consistent for most of the teams. I think Urshifu has been banned. I don't think Urshifu has been played
Mm,
yet tonight
nope,
at all.
not at all. It's
Yeah.
usually like
So
the
I
first,
mean,
the
like
first
you
between the first two bands. But go ahead.
Yeah. I mean, like you were saying before, like these teams have such a versatility of players or characters that they have under their wing. So it's really going to be difficult for either of them to choose the bans here. Dodrio is going to be the first ban on the side of Team Drip. Dark Aura, I think looking, watching the last set here, there's the Urshifu ban as well. And the Comfy band too. That's another character that they got to be really careful of giving that to the other team. But you know what that means is that Trevenant or Blastoise is going to be available to be selected as well. Both of those characters did Team Drip um, quite a number in that series.
Yeah, but Comfy not being available is going to be super important for that top lane. If you are going to go for the tree in the first place, you are forced to pick another supporter that's still available. Ability, pretty much the main healer that you're going to have. So it's going to be super important for them to actually get some stuff going. From Team Week side, they are going to be banning the slow bro. I'm expecting then probably a tree pick here. If not, going to go for a support.
Yeah, I think it's definitely going to be the tree or the Blastoise is going to be the first pick here for Team Drip. Um, Obviously, we don't know as casters just based off of what has happened in the second series, but really two characters that are very comfortable. Espeon is also another character that has seen a lot of mileage for Team Drip as well. Obviously, we've seen the two Vs coming out here for the second series. Love to see it again too.
Espeon first attacker on the rotation. It looks like Espeon is going to be a contested pick by both sides. They recognize the potential of damage that the Pokemon can actually bring out because of obviously the buffs that it has with the Side Shock, Side Beam range, and all that stuff. And we have seen it put in the work from their side as well. Team Drip does like to run that double EV comp, so that's another thing that you can go for. Trevenant is still going to be picked on the side of Dark Aura, though.
Yeah. Comes another pick as well on the side of Dark Aura. They have a lot of options to pick here. Hoopa is also a really strong option that did really well for Team Drip in the last game too. There goes the
Ooh,
Blastoise and the Trevenant. So Team
ooh.
Drip actually selected these two characters in the second game of that series and did so well, and now they're going to be facing that down um, in this first game here.
Yeah, pretty much a defender and an all-rounder, or both of them can actually be all-rounders if you're gonna get
I know.
some stacks in from the Trevenant. We have
Yeah.
seen the damage that they could do. So, yeah, very solid picks from Dark Aura side running that double defender comp.
All right. Team Drip obviously needs a front line here for these next two picks here. Thinking about what they could pick, Mr. Mime is still on the table. Hoopa obviously had a little bit of mileage here, and finally we're seeing a new character coming out. Is the Buzzball is going to be a good tool with that superpower to try to stop the spinning Blastoise.
That's exactly what I was looking for on
Yeah,
the previous games as well, Riku. I mentioned it beforehand. If you're gonna pick the Blastoise, you gotta start bringing out that Buzzwall just to get rid of that rapid spin water spout. Now that can actually change up a little bit if they maybe want to go for the Surf Hydro Pump type of build. If you want to go Blastoise full defender, but then you are actually sacrificing a lot of the damage that leaves you an opportunity to take care of the Espeon, but they actually opt to go for the Delphox that time around to add some range onto the double tanks that you have on at least the first two picks.
honestly, this might be a Mr. Mime ban. This might be a Mime ban or some sort of defender ban here for Dark Aura. That is my anticipation. Slowbro obviously is not available to be selected as it was banned for Team Drip. But let's see what they decide to go for here. Could be Mr. Mime. It could be even like a Snorlax pick for this ban.
Man,
Let's see what they
if
go
they
for.
could ban the Snorlax, it actually pinches Team Drip's defenders
Yeah,
very, very much.
yeah.
So they would have to be forced to pick something else.
Wow, a
They are protecting
Greninja.
the Greninja. Oh,
Wow.
interesting. Greninja.
Obviously, we don't know as casters what's going on in the conversations in their voice chat rooms, but really interesting pick here. Um, I
I'm
don't think
pretty
I've
sure
seen.
that's interesting. Oh, okay. I also saw Tech actually rocking the Greninja as well throughout the course of the season, but Tech has been going a lot more supports in the rotations this time around. Now they do manage to take off Blissey off the board, um, forcing then for them to pick maybe something along the lines of an Eldegoss or a Wigglytuff that would be available. Effectively, the Wigglytuff is going to be picked. So a Sing double slap Wigglytuff um, could
Oh my
be kind of
gosh.
detrimental to actually go for, especially if you have an Espeon and a Buzzwole in the front.
I mean, what we've been seeing a whole lot of tonight with the Delphox, the flavor of the builds that they've been choosing, has been a lot of Fire Spin and Fire Blast. So
Yeah,
if that is what Dark Aura decides to go with here, the Trevenant, Delphox, and a Wigglytuff, the amount of crowd control that those three can output is just absolutely insane. And I can see Buzzwole really struggling against those three if that's what he has to go up against.
Yeah, the stunts from the fire spin onto the sleep of the Wigglytuff, and then you just have a little turtle just spinning around and dealing damage. I cannot blame them if they want to go for it.
Yeah,
Which is why the pick for the
it's a
Decidueye
very
is
risky,
actually
to be
kind of
honest. They
risky, I feel
need a
like, from the side
defender
effect
here. It
team.
has to be a Snorlax. Snorlax or Mamoswine, or
Greedent?
no, Crustle. See a Crustle coming
A
back.
Crustle?
The Crustle coming back, but
Eventually an Umbreon?
yeah,
No Umbreons tonight, unfortunately.
they
But
are
they are
going
going
to
to go
yeah,
for
they
Snorlax,
are
yeah,
going to go
trying
for
to
Snorlax.
get some front line.
Okay, thank God, because and then we
Oh, this
Scizor
is
Scyther, yeah.
spicy.
So that's most likely going to be the. Hmm. I mean, looking at what they have here, they can go with either. They can go with either the Scizor or the Scyther.
Yeah,
Both of them could output tons of damage here.
yeah, especially if you want to run Delphox in lane,
Hmm.
and just go for the Scyther jungle, just to get on those flanks onto the Espeon and the Decidueye. I really like this. I really like Dark Aura's comp.
Oh boy. Yeah, I think definitely. I think we both kind of have this opinion here. I think definitely Dark Aura has the advantage here in this first draft pick in the first game.
It's gonna be pivotal for the Buzzwole to actually get that counter going, but the rest of the team has so many tools to just not make them play the game, Raikou. Because
Yeah.
again, if you start hitting the Blastoise, the Fire Spin from the Delphox is gonna come in. You start spinning in circles, and then Wigglytuff just goes in the middle and just sings, and everybody goes to sleep. Yeah. The more I think about it, the more I think the Scyther is going to come out because you are missing a little bit of the damage on the side of Dark Aura. So you can't really depend on the Delphox only to rack up that damage, I feel.
Yeah. I mean, we're talking about this Buzzwole, right, and about the superpower and everything, but as strong as the tool that Buzzwole is with that superpower, you still have to hit those skill shots, and
Yeah.
it's not superpower is not that easy of a move to hit your skill shots. You've really got to make sure you're landing them on the correct target as well. Blastoise is an obvious pick in trying to hit the Delphox and behind them, but it's going to be really difficult. Even with a full heal on the Buzzwole, it's going to be difficult for that character to really maneuver around to get to the back line.
It's going to be super interesting. Now that we have the entirety of the teams actually selecting their respective Pokemons, we're just about to hit the itemization phase. So we can take a look at what they want to build for the corresponding teams. It gives us more or less of an idea as to how they want to play it. That's why we're seeing, for example, Blast was actually stacking right at the beginning. You already know it's probably going to be Water Spout, Rapid Spin, just to deal that extra damage in. And it makes all the sense in the world to actually run it too, especially in the comp that Team Drip really likes to do. Getting rid of the Decidueye and the S-Pen is going to be high priority for them.
Yeah. It's really going to depend on the Buzzwole of being able to protect both the Espeon and Decidueye. Both of those characters have really poor mobility, or just maybe even the Hoopa just sending them back home at the optimal time. But once Blastoise starts spinning, the only thing that can really stop it is the superpower on the Buzzwole. Snorlax, though, I mean, you can put a block up, but it's not going to CC the Blastoise out of it.
How are they going to play this out? Is going to be super important. A lot of double defender comps have been kind of taking advantage of the meta, I feel, right now, Reiku, especially throughout the course of these few games that we've actually been able to cast together. I feel like double defender comps have actually been dominating the majority of the matches.
I mean, taking a look at Dark Aura side, it's more like a triple defender. I mean, like, Wigglytuff has been like spoken about kind of consistently as being more of a defender-oriented character rather than a support-oriented character, just because it has that form of CC and that bulkiness as well. And yeah, it looks like that Wigglytuff in the bottom there is going to be running the focus band. Must have been on the Wigglytuff. Maybe trying to get the faster boosted auto with the additional CC that it gets. A couple of new characters that are new players that we're seeing out here. Once again, we have Team Drip over on the left side, knowing that you haven't seen before, and then over on the right side, rounding out Dark Aura for this series, get Yoshi Velodites. Can't stop them, quite literally, with the Blastoise Rapid Spin, Kersey on the Scizor Scyther, and then Blue Hero, the latter two players coming onto the new team.
Yeah, I kind of have more confidence now seeing who gets to pick what, and it's going to be Animated Eagle onto the Buzzwole. And we saw Animated Eagle actually having a stellar performance versus Team Roketo beforehand. So if there's anybody that can get those skill shots or skill moves in from the Buzzwole onto, can't stop them. It is definitely the player that plays Blastoise the most from your team, right? So hopefully we can get some stuff going. This is the final set of the night. Game number 1 between hashtag Team Drip and Dark Aura.
Decidueye making their way into the jungle. On the opposite side, Dark Aura has their jungler on the Delphox heading into the jungler as well. Taking a look here, we have maybe a potential invade. No, it looks like the Wigglytuff is just going to go ahead and protect that top buff, maybe potentially from the Hoopa. In the bottom lane, we have the Snorlax, the Barbarian Snorlax with the helmet as well. Espeon able to get out confirm the Phantom. Bottom lane, I think that Squirtle was able to get maybe 1 to 2 stacks for themselves. Tackle, a little bit of CC. Eject button a little early there for the Squirtle, making their way back home. Top lane, we have the Buzzwole making their way back home through the hyperspace portal. Get some healing back in. Junglers heading up to the top lane.
Yeah, we did see the Scyther actually falling, so that's going to be the double F, the first feint from the side of the left. And now we're seeing Dartrix actually taking care of the Jigglypuff on the top side as well. So good start with a couple of KOs from the left side, whereas 14 points on the side of Dark Aura, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, kind of no showing here over from Dark Aura in the top lane. Scyther was a little bit awkward on the rotations, making their way to the Bunnelby that spawned there instead of going for the 850 Bs or blues that spawned in the top lane. And looks like the bottom lane just pretty conservative overall. Level 5 on the War Total, obviously the Phantom having an XP share helping out their spinning defender.
Yeah, it's not pretty much nothing you can do right now. Just gonna make them stack and continue to put on that exact same pressure, and that's a problem that you're gonna have, especially in this particular lane. If Espeon continues to use that side shock to secure those last hits, Dartrix is gonna start the rotation because there's 5 seconds left on the board for the Otarias and the Swablues, and Scyther is still gonna be on top, trying to fight against Animated Eagle's Buzzwole. So a little bit of a team fight right at the bottom side. Wigglytuff using the Sing, and they actually managed to take care of the situation. No, they don't.
No.
MVP once again for the Hoopa.
Yeah, Hoopa once again able to send one of their teammates back home. Nice and healthy now. A big rotation down to the bottom lane. Decidueye is fully activated here, sitting at level 7. Doesn't have access to the Unite move. Not really close just yet.
Oh.
Delphox able to pick up the Hoopa as well with the Mystical
Oh!
Fire. This might be the first time we've seen Mystical Fire tonight. It's been mostly the Fire Blast build, even though Mystical Fire was nerfed. It's still a really good utility tool for burst and consistent DPS over time.
This is actually my favorite Delphox build as well. I really like Pokemon that really like that mobility and that additional setups. Mystical Fire, Flame Charge onto the Delphox is going to be super important, especially when trying to move and weave your way out of what Buzzwole likes to do. And we are seeing a couple of command grabs coming in. Now Scyther actually managing to escape just for now. Another takedown on the side. And that's Delphox in, and they managed to secure the Regice again as well. So Delphox is popping off this game. Get Yoshi moving in, taking care of business. That's a triple.
Yeah, trying to do a little bit of math here in the bottom lane, but very comfortably they're going to go and break this goal. 30 going into the bottom lane with potentially another 30 and a 40, I think, went into the bottom lane as well.
Oh.
Wow. A huge 100-point swing going over into the bottom lane as well. That's a solid 20-point overcap as well.
Yes, such a good move by the Delphox of Yoshi too. So yes, Yoshi has a Decidueye, but this is a level of Delphox that we haven't seen quite as of right now. And now can't stop them trying to take care of set Decidueye eject button.
Oh my gosh. The solo unite, the Hydro Typhoon, and the eject button putting the owl to sleep here. In the top side, Team Drip just going to go ahead and confirm this Regieleki now applying some pressure onto the tier 2 goal. Superpower finding its way onto the Wigglytuff. Wigglytuff does go down there. It is using that, I forget the name of the other ability that the Buzz will have. Is it Thrash is the name of that ability?
I think it's Thrash, yeah.
Yes, the Rash. Yeah, there comes the flex coming in from the Buzzwole. Another Solar Unite going onto the Scyther as well into the top lane. Let's see if they try to apply some pressure here. Snorlax going to be using that block and the Heavy Slam to push the tree away. Tree is pushing back as well. Buzzwole sitting on about 5% though. Here comes the rest of the team. Heavy Slam missing their mark, trying to find the schmoving Fox here. Trevenant's going to go ahead and distract Regieleki, and they're going to go ahead and take that down here. Right now, this Blastoise, another Hydro Typhoon coming out. This is most likely an Energy Amp Typhoon, finding the Decidueye and forcing the Espeon back to the base as it does get taken out by the Mystical Fire.
Damn, Get Yoshi is not missing a beat. Just hitting right in the face of Espeon. Not really much you can do there. And now rotating one more time. That's another Regice. Water Spouts coming in on the side. I can't stop them. And Trevenant is forced to actually move away. They do manage to take out the Wigglytuff and the Trevenant, so that's a double from the side of the Decidueye. And they continue to contest themselves. Scyther actually trying to move in one more time. And they secure it as well. Look at the cleanup. That's a double.
The green illusion dive coming out of the Scyther, putting on a clinic there, able to secure 4 eliminations for themselves. Can we see a Penta? We got a Penta coming out of the bug Pokemon here. I am not bugged anymore, and you're going to feel my wrath. Green illusion dive securing 5 KOs for themselves as the cameraman doing a little bit of celebration too.
And all of this started in the early game being so lackluster for the Scyther. This is part of the reason why a lot of teams fear this Pokemon in the first place. Scyther can just wreck everybody if you give them the opportunity. And we're seeing already Hoopa trying to move in that time, but Buzzwole trying to get some more cheeky points in. Well, he's just gonna go down. Yeah, Dark Aura is definitely putting the gas to the pedal.
Yeah, it's only a 95-point differential here, but right now the level differential is quite significant. Level 12 on the Delphox, 12, 13 on the Scyther as well. We'll have access to Unite Move again with that Energy Amp. Yeah, lots of Energy Amps on the right side of the field. Dark Aura with their Hydro Typhoon. The fireworks are being placed, applying some pressure onto the tier 2. 20, I think that's 25 onto the point there. If my sight is correct there, 23 with an additional, yeah, it was just a small overcap on that point there. But most importantly, the tempo is all in favor of Dark Aura.
Such good. Just good objective control and bounce back as well, like we mentioned before. One of the members actually struggling a little bit, the Scyther in particular, but actually managing to get that Penta KO. Going to be super important as continuing now can't stop them invading the jungle, making sure that #Team Grip continues to feel the pressure on their necks. And Dark Aura looking very clean. 40 seconds left until Rayquaza, and that final objective is going to be 3 Regice in a row for this game too.
Yeah. Dark Aura running down through all of their tiers, still available to them as well. They have really strong positioning here. About 20 seconds left here. That Psyshock hitting their mark, not getting anything out of it though. 2 KOs down. Buzzwole, Snorlax on a timer at the moment here, and it looks like they're just going to go ahead and abandon this, trying to get some positioning. But this is looking like a runaway right now.
Yeah, everybody's looking so well on the side of Dark Aura as well. Get Yoshi pretty much just taking care of business on the bottom side, and part of the reason why it could be a little difficult for the side of #Team Drip is because their comp also seems to be favoring the poke at a distance and not really quite vested so much in team fighting, whereas Dark Aura really likes to actually put everybody together and just try to clean up as much as possible, and Scyther just sealing the deal with a couple of KOs on their side too. So how are they going to play this is going to be super important. Let's see what's going to happen.
Yeah, at about 100 points left here. Decidueye and the Espeon. I'm going to go ahead and start poking at it right now. All the characters, most of the characters for Dark Aura just hitting their benchmarks. Here comes the Hydro Typhoon right now. Going to go ahead and start chasing down the Hoopa. Forced to use an X-Speed. Buzzwole does go down to get Yoshi on the Delphox. Espeon right now going to be forced back to the right side of the map, actually. I think they're going to be taken out here. Here comes the Hoopa, unbound, maybe trying to save their Espeon, who's on the other side of the map. There are lots of KOs coming in. Snorlax, the Barbarian, is the only one left, and Snorlax does go down. This is a full ace going over on the right side. Dark Aura, another Quadra. Is this a Penta? No, this is just a Quadra going over to that Penta if you include the Rayquaza.
Yeah, y'all must have forgot Y'all must have forgot how good Scyther is.
Yeah,
We
remember me? That's what the Scyther's saying.
Pokemon banned for months. It seems like years at this point. Y'all must have forgot. Like the way that they can clean up those team fights and actually going into the 1v3 scenario as we're seeing the instant replay write it down on the bottom side. Gets the Penta in playoffs, the first Penta in playoffs, gets a Quadra to seal the deal for the Rayquaza. Hashtag Team Drip just forced to run away with the tail between their legs and just using that surrender. You're going to try to run it back and see what type of adaptation they're going to go for. But Kersey doing such a good job onto that side there. Gayoshi obviously keeping the team together in those early stages.
Yeah. Obviously, we didn't see the interaction between the Buzzball and the Scyther in the top lane as well, but Kersey, just as soon as they joined the fray in the bottom lane, able to get huge amount of utility out of that character with that green illusion dive, just those resets on point.
Such good play overall, honestly. Galadai doing their job, can't stop them. It seems like if you pick the tree or you pick the Blastoise, you're going to win the match right now, Reiku. And seems like the team with better defenders actually gets it, but I think it has to do with the fact that they have a lot of sustain when it comes to actually getting their respective team fights, as well as getting those stuns in whenever necessary. That's why the week fits so well for whatever it is that they wanted to do at this point too.
Yeah. Obviously, Dark Aura is a team that has the mileage in terms of the scrims and the tournament experience as well. And honestly, we were having this conversation at the beginning with the pick ban phase, and once they selected their teams, I think this game was won on the pick ban phase.
Yeah. Hard agree with Reiku right there. Because we both agreed. Like I feel like the composition that they actually ran that time around was actually a lot more efficient. You were giving a lot of responsibility, I felt, onto Raptor Arms to actually be that front line, and if Animated Eagle could not try to get into the corresponding carries on the side of Dark Aura, it was going to be very difficult for them to actually get some stuff going, and that's eventually what we saw from their side, right? Which is why the Delphox pick onto the Buzzwole is actually so pivotal. And we are seeing the first ban of Scyther and Scizor. Yeah,
Wow,
no,
that was a fast ban too.
they know. They know.
Yeah. This team is going right back into it.
See if we can get some stuff more going. So Scyther and Scizor trying to play some games, but then they remember that this is why they
Yeah.
usually ban it and they just
Yeah.
decide to actually
Kersey
not.
once again just putting on a clinic with this character, right? This character was obviously banned, and just reminding the entire community why it was banned. Not so much for the bug bans were like obvious, but this character in the right hands can be a scalpel in the doctor's hands. The doctor being Kersey.
Really, really well. So it's going to be interesting once we see Zacian actually unbanned as well. If we're going to see Zacian versus Scyther, because we do see a scalpel on the side of of the side of Scyther, and then you have a big mallet on the side of Zacian, trying to unga bunga their way onto the Thea Sky. So that's something to look forward to in the future as we move on. So Urshifu feeds the same bands that we saw beforehand for Dark Aura, as well as we await for that final band on the first phase for hashtag Team Drip.
Urshifu, unfortunately, is not seeing a showing tonight. Only seeing a showing on the pick ban phase as the banned character. All right, got one more ban for Team Drip right now. Let's see, what could they go with here? I mean, they could go with the Delphox, go with the Dodrio once again. Um, Obviously, just a pretty safe ban there, Dodrio. Pretty safe ban.
Yeah, okay. So this is what we're gonna do here. Alrighty. Yeah, 45 seconds left. We're still waiting on that first pick for hashtag Team Drip.
Has
Slow
to
burn.
be a defender. I think it has to be a defender. It has to be Trevenant. It has to be Blastoise. If they don't pick that, I think they just lose.
Very stern words by this
Oh
side.
my god. Oh no.
Pick.
All right, let's.
Ooh.
I think this is a Trevenant Blastoise immediately.
Yeah, I pick it
That's
again if
my
you
thought.
fix it.
I think it's Trev Blastoise immediately. That is my call.
And I would
It just
go.
it works so well. It just works so well for Dark Aura, and
Uh,
obviously it's worked so well for Team Drip too. So anyone
um,
who's had that shell, I think.
Yeah, the Terminant Blastoise here, and maybe the adaptation from Team Drip would be something along the lines of a Slowbro Hoopa.
There it
Just
is. There's the Trev pick.
So I want to
I
say, fun fact for you guys and the stream, that was Scyther's first showing in the UWC League. So
first. You mean the
because
first?
of all the bans and because of its bugs and stuff, last week it was available. Nobody played it. And this week was the first time somebody has played it, and that is why you need to ban this Pokemon and or pick it up to go play it for yourself.
Yeah,
All right.
most of the teams on our side, not only in our league but also in UCS, might not be used to actually having Scyther and Scizor available. So, yeah, crazy showing as to why you need to ban it in the first place, but actually going double defender comp on Dark Aura side, switching it up instead of the Blastoise, actually going for Slowbro.
Mhm. All right, most likely defender, or no, they're gonna go ahead and go for the one of the special attack carries here with the Delphox with the anti-heal. Well, probably also trying to rip that away from Get Yoshi as well, the jungler for Dark Aura. There's
And
the
we're seeing the
Blastoise
Blastoise
pick.
too.
There we go. I do like this a lot. I do
Yeah.
like this inside of Team Drip a lot. They're pulling away two characters that gave them a lot of trouble, the Blastoise and the Delphox for Dark Aura. But Dark Aura, like we said, versatility in their characters. They have a lot.
One final pick on their side. Probably going to go for an attacker and a support. You still have two bands available.
Ah,
It's
yes.
why. Oh
Thank
my
you.
lord.
Get
And
Yoshi
if
heard
there
you.
is anybody happy here, it is definitely Reiku. It is probably a Geyoshi Decidueye here.
And I do know that Get Yoshi has a Razor Leaf Decidueye in
Oh
their
my god.
toolkit, but seeing
That's
Espeon and a Delphox on the other side, it's most likely going to be Shackle.
it's just a Decidueye. Razor Leaf Decidueye is actually my favorite Decidueye. I just
Oh
like
yeah,
doing that extra DPS damage, especially when running Rapid Fire Scarf, and you just keep racking it onto the tanks, and you can just see the health bars just going on to zero in like 5
yeah.
seconds.
You know,
It's
I had this thought, like with all the defenders coming out, with like Gudra, Lapras, and Umbreon coming out in quick succession. I was thinking like with all these defender tanks with like kind of limited mobility coming around, maybe Razor Leaf Decidueye might see a little bit more play just because of Muscle Band Rapid Fire Scarf just doing
Mhm.
tons of percentage damage onto those
Yeah.
characters, but we'll see. We'll see.
Hopefully so. Hopefully so. Because again, my favorite Decidueye is definitely Razor Leaf. Like Spirit Shackle is fun and you can snipe people from afar, but if there's nothing better than seeing a comfy Decidueye with Razor Leaf just
Yeah,
shredding absolutely everything in their path.
yeah. All right, we got the Hoopa and the Mew band for either team here. Interesting that the oh no, yeah, it was Team Drip that went with the Hoopa band, but that does mean that they don't really have access to a healer here as Comfy and Hoopa. They could choose the Blissey. Blissey has actually not seen play yet tonight, so it
Which
could
is
be a
super
Blissey,
interesting.
Eldegoss could be an also option as well.
Mhm.
But
Mr. Mime is still available too.
mhm.
It's
I mean, they
Sableye,
could,
but I'm not expecting a Sableye.
yeah, probably not here. I mean, they could just brawl it out and just go two defenders against two defenders, and you put like a Mamoswine or maybe even a Mr. Mime, kind of functions as a defender support.
Yeah, Mime from the side of Team Drip would be something to go for.
More
Just
seconds
to listen.
here. Having a lot of conversation about this last two picks. Here comes the Machamp pick as well. I
And
do like the Machamp pick. That is a pretty good pick, in my
sure,
opinion. Good source of
expecting close
burst.
combat.
Yeah, good source of burst with their Unite move and with Dynamic Punch. Good
Mm.
chase onto the Delphox. Let's see. Let's see
So,
what
fun
else.
fact as well, Animated Eagle hates Machamp when you run Submission Machamp. So, I'm
Yep.
expecting Kersey to run Submission to the Champ just against Animated Eagle just to piss him off.
Spicy stuff.
I
We're seeing the Blissey on Team Drip.
select. Yeah, that's what I was expecting. The Blissey selection. Got to keep their Blastoise, their front line alive. I think one thing I am a little bit worried about here, maybe Team Drip has ran the Fire Spin build, so that might be their source of CC. But just looking at their team, they might not have like the CC advantage here with the Trevenant and the Slowbro on the left side.
Hmm.
Um,
Especially Slowbro's
so
going to run either Surf or Scald, but I'm expecting the Surf because it's been so good
yeah,
throughout the series. Yeah, it seems to be the preferred. So I'm assuming maybe Surf Amnesia is what we're going to go for here, unless they want to run Telekinesis, but the Snorlax with the double defender comp. So yeah,
yeah.
like you mentioned beforehand, it's super important to have that front line in.
hmm Team Drip opting for the Protect the King and the Queen here with the Espeon and the Delphox. The bulky defenders in the front line and a Blissey too. So really trying to go for the special attack hyper carry with that Delphox as well. See who their last selection here is for Dark Aura.
Just waiting on that final pick. We're just about to see it now. We're missing a little bit of firepower, maybe on the side of Dark Aura. Machamp can do a lot of damage, especially if you get him with a cross shot build with
Yeah.
scope lens and additional other damage. Once you hit level 13, that's pretty much guaranteed. Oh my lord,
Is
Jesus!
it spicy? We got an Absol coming in here. Two characters that have not seen play tonight: the Blissey on the side of Team Drip, and then the Absol as well.
I mean, if you wanted firepower, you are going to get it. The only problem that I'm gonna have is, are you gonna be able to burst down the Blasters and Snorlax? Are you gonna be able to take advantage of your level differential enough for them to be non-factors in that front line? That would be the only thing, considering how the meta usually goes down, right?
hmm
But really spicy picks. I feel like this draft around is a lot more balanced from both sides. What do you think of that, Riku?
I agree as well. Kind of just what I was saying before about the Delphox and the Blastoise. I think just giving Dark Aura both. I mean, they had the opportunity though. Dark Aura had the opportunity to run the Trev Blastoise back again, and they decided to go with the Slowbro. So maybe their Blastoise that last game, didn't have a whole lot of mileage, but for my eyes, it looked like it's put in some work.
Yeah, Squirtle's then actually gonna rock the Delphox that time around. Raptor arms on there with the Snorlax.
Sets here. So get Yoshi most likely going with the Shackle. That is the standard Shackle build. Well, lots of XP shares for both sides of the field as well. I think Team Drip definitely has a better shot at this game, 100%.
Yeah, I agree. The composition seems to be a lot more paired up. And again, double defender comp seems to be the norm right now. But we saw Kersey actually do so much damage with Scyther, and now picking the Absol for this composition, we might see another Kersey party for this second game.
Take a look at that. Kersey with the gold ribbon on the Absol. I
Oh
think
my god.
for Team Drip, if there's one thing you gotta be really afraid of, is the bushes. Right?
Yeah.
Absol and Champ, they just like to bush camp the whole time and just wait for you to come by. So I think a lot of responsibility is going to be on the defenders on Team Drip side to check all of the bushes as your squishier characters, your Delphox and your Espeon try to advance.
Yeah, I agree with you, Draku. We are moving on to game number 2 this time around, so hopefully we can get a 3-game series. Hashtag Team Drip trying to even out the scores. And we're seeing the rotations on there right about now.
One thing I haven't seen tonight is any invades.
Yeah.
There hasn't been any minute 0 invades right at the beginning of the game here. Obviously, Delphox and Rowlet kind of just struggle in the early game here. Maybe even the Snorlax, but obviously we're not going to see that here. We get a couple of stacks here on the side of Team Drip, getting that Snorlax and Espeon up to par. Machop on a Pixel right now is going to making their way back home as well. Looks like both of the junglers, the ranged attackers, are heading up to the top lane for the first Swablu spawning in the next few seconds here.
Yeah, Tag trying to be a nuisance with the Chansey right about now. We are seeing the Dreikusan already on the side of Squirtle's Den. We're seeing a 3-man rotation, and now it seems to be Galadite versus the world on the bottom lane. Altaris and Swab's actually going to come in pretty divisive in between all of them right now, and Kersey seeming to rotate onto the bottom side too, just to help out the Slowbro out a little bit.
Yeah, pretty conservative up in the top lane. Able to get that Blissey evolution as well in the top lane. I think that was the Machoke evolution as well on the top side too.
Yeah.
Right now, like we were saying before, both of these junglers needing a lot of experience to get themselves going. Obviously, the Delphox able to get the evolution at level 6, Decidueye at level 7. There is the Delphox evolution as well.
The commissioner having a little bit of fun with the camera as well, but it might get a little busy if he continues to rotate it. Cloud looking like he's in trouble. Kersey actually moving in, but Heavy Slam actually forced them out. It's a 3v1 scenario for the Snorlax, who is forced to run away, but they have a plenty of life. Oh, cheeky
a little
for
bit early on that one. That would have been a nice shot, though. That's exactly where to place that shot. Just the timing was just a little bit off here. Spirit Shackle trying to find their way. The tick, not able to get the Blissey. Can we get the... Oh my gosh! The Escavalier able to get the KO for the Decidueye. The spear going into the Blissey. It's not something you see very often there, but nice shot.
A Cloud actually taking somebody down, and this is a different Espeon this time around. It seems to be stored powered Espeon. Is Yoshi trying to secure that? Indeed, he manages to do so. So, yeah, not gonna have any type of CC from their side, at least no stuns from them. Actually, using the stored power to move around, but you're sacrificing a lot of the secures and objectives control when it comes to actually using it. But actually running Psybeam could help a little bit.
Yeah, definitely the burst damage if they are packed in a group as well. Right now, Dark Aura has really solid position.
Oh no!
Attic, Basement Reggie here. Machoke is going to be taking a Psybeam to the face as well. Let's take a look at the bottom lane as this is going to go Reggie Steele going over to the right side. Nice and confidently without any contention as well. Trying to stack some in the top lane as well. This is going to be a 30 as well. Here comes another larger score that looks like a 20 over as well. They're going to go ahead and trade lanes. Indeed is available both sides of the field. Team Drift going to grab this Reggie Electric for themselves.
Yeah, at least from our side, it's looking pretty even so far. Can't stop them. Pretty much caught out in that brush versus 2 members on the side of #Team Drippin'. The trade of the objectives is trying to move around. These guys are cheeky. Gay Yoshi getting those snipes on deck, can't stop him. Actually getting the kill onto the War Turtle. Yeah, doing a really good job that time. And by the way, Reiku, I do have the names of the Pokemons and their respective players that are using them in the chat, in the voice chat, so you can go ahead and look at them just in case.
Oh, okay. Thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem.
I think the red buff was actually stolen by the tree there.
It was. Kiro first to run away.
Oh my gosh, the Phantom Force coming in here, getting a little bit of health and HP. Is not enough. The shield is just not enough to keep them alive there. Looks like the red buff is going over to the Espeon.
Yeah, Squirtle's then actually securing that red buff for themselves. And now can't stop them. Already into Machamp mode. Absol on the bottom side. Fighting against the Snorlax. I feel like they need to get Kersey a little more going for these late team fights, because I feel like the Absol is not doing the damage that you really want it to do.
Yeah, 140 to 131, small score differential in the favor of Team Trip at the moment here. This might be the the full team fight that we're going to be seeing here. It's currently a 3v4 in the bottom lane as well. Spirit Shackle hitting 3 there. Yeah, hitting their mark once again, hitting them. Oh, he's dancing, but he got to be really careful. Right now, Dark Aura is not playing around here. Another Spirit Shackle finding the Barbarian here. Oh, with a big dynamic punch, and the Barrage coming in, finding their backline. Espeon going down here. Can he grab one more? No. The Bliss assistance with the with the barrier coming in, saving their defender. All right, here comes the Absol as well with the claws coming through here, finding the backline too. Blissey trying to keep them alive with the back hit, with the critical hit as well. Dark Aura advantage in the bottom lane.
Yeah, Tech forced to run away that time, but does get extra assistance there with Animated Eagle, throwing out an Ekdos just to stun him for a little bit. Get Yoshi securing that Regice on the bottom side, and we are seeing it is definitely a cross shot. Machamp rotations are going to start playing onto the top side.
All right, levels obviously are in favor of Dark Aura by just a little bit though. 2 level 12s for Machamp and for Decidueye, not hitting their benchmarks just yet here. Level 11 and level 11 for the Delphox for Team Drip as well. In the bottom lane, small scores going in for the Trevenant as well. Looks like that's going to once again go over to Team Drip. There is no experience on the field at the moment. Here comes a Hydro Typhoon using that Night Slash to try to get away from there. I think that's Night Slash. I don't know the abilities for Absol very well. Oh! Lots of Unites coming in here. Let's see if they can apply some additional pressure. Here comes the barrage coming from the Machamp, able to pick up 2 KOs from themselves. Blissey on their own. Here comes the Decidueye Spirit Jackal as well. It's team fighting right now is all in favor of Dark Aura.
But it looks so good for the team,
No.
for hashtag Team Drip right at the beginning. We saw the barrier actually going in on the side of Raptor Arms, and they managed to get everybody a little bit stunned, but eventually Dark Aura managing to clean up. And we are seeing that momentum here. Now the Regieleki putting in a lot of the damage in as well. But for a moment, it seemed like Team Drip was just about to make me tie things up in levels-wise.
Still a really close game. Got some characters hitting their benchmarks now. 13 on the Decidueye. Increased critical hit rate for the Machoke as well at level 13 too. Snorlax trying to find something with the block, trying to make their way back home. There's a critical hit there. There's another critical hit there as well. Got to make sure you're turning your back or turning your face towards the Absol as it tries to strike you here. Applying some pressure now is Team Drip onto this bottom lane, but the Surf Slowbro with the Professor outfit holding down the lane.
Yep. About 1 second left on the board for the last Reggie of this game. Rotations are going to be up there for the Reggie Rock. Extra experience is going to be super important for hashtag Team Drip here. Heavy Slam coming in by Raptor Arms, who tries to put up the barrier to get away, but Yoshi just continues to poke at a distance with the Spirit Shackle, and Rayquaza already spawning. And we're seeing a back cap on the side of the Machamp, which is going to be a brilliant overdunk, but at what cost? Okay, the rotations are still going to be there on the side of hashtag Team Drip, so far so good for them. Oh no, danger for Can't Stop Him! Oh my god!
A big Unite move coming out of the Machoke, was not able to get anything out of it, just a lot of damage, knocking on the door of the other team as well. In the backline though is the Absol trying to find the Delphox, is able to find the Delphox there. There's a couple of Dancies there, maybe a little bit upset. There's the Snorlax. Snorlax does go down. Blastoise, the only one left, and the rip is starting by the Decidueye. Decidueye is going to start using its faster boosted. Here comes the Blastoise, but it's on a pixel. One Spirit Shackle to the face is going to lock that down for Dark Aura, and here comes the confirmation with the Phantom Forest.
Exactly what you got to do if you're Get Yoshi. As long as the team continues to move forward, you know, the opportunity for Animated Eagle was right there, maybe to try to get some more stuff going, but that's 100 points on the side of Dark Aura to continue to push forward. Another 100 points with 50 seconds left on the board. It's pretty much a foregone conclusion. Dark Aura have a date with War Legion, and they cement themselves as one of the top 4 teams in the Unite World Coronation League.
Yeah, this entire game, Kersey was just definitely struggling with the Absol, but finally finding the opening that they needed to find the Delphox in the back line to let the rest of the team sweep through. And they're going to go ahead and close out this game here. 20 seconds left on the margin. This is going to be a Cinderella story for Dark Aura. They're going to be making their way to the finals next week.
Final Hydro Typhoon from the side of Animated Eagle, trying to continue to defend whatever they can, but 5 seconds left on the board. That's really pretty much no more contest. Next week is going to be banger after banger, as we already have the top 4 teams of our corresponding league: Jungle, Griefers, Ikigai no Tsurugi, War Legion, and now Dark Aura.
Yeah, the numbers tell it all here. Get Yoshi getting 10 eliminations for themselves. Kersey with 6, 84k damage going over to the Decidueye, right side of the field. Able to get a lot of stacks and damage for themselves here. Man, if you are the other 4 teams waiting in the wings for next week, you got to take a look at this Dark Aura team, because they are an unstoppable force right now. Every other series went to game 3, not this one. They have been waiting patiently in the wings, done their business, and they're moving on the next week.
Yeah, Kersey putting pretty much a solid show with the Scyther, and then, you know, some of the most patient play that I've ever seen in Absol, because usually I just see Absols just pressing buttons, but Kersey just taking their time, making sure that the back was against the respective Pokemon and getting those swift kills right with the Unite move and actually taking care of both the Blissey and the Delphox towards the end. When we did see solid play from everybody around as we take a look at the Pokemon Coronation League's top four. Ikigai no Tsurugi is going to face up against Jungle Griefers and War Legion versus Dark Aura. That's our top four in a double elimination bracket. The best teams that we currently have on our league are just about to duke it out next week, so it's going to be super exciting.
Yeah, some clarity is now coming in for the finals pictures here. Next Thursday, round 4, best of 3. If our commissioner wants to come in and review what we have left for the season, I hope you guys are ready for it. These teams have been duking it out the entire season, and now we are left with just the best.
With the best 4 teams in the league, you have Ikigai no Tsurugi with Jungle Griefers, War Legion, and Dark Aura. Congratulations to all 4 teams, as one of those teams will not make it out of this tournament with no money. So all 4 teams are playing with an opportunity to get either first, second, or third place money. There is a prize pool in this, a $750 prize pool. I think I believe third place was getting 100, second place was getting 300, so fourth place gets four. No, wait, that's wrong. It's
Is
100,
it
250,
50? Yeah, and then
400.
400.
Yeah, yeah. So that's
Yeah.
how it's gonna. Yeah, so that's how it goes. And it would be up to the captains to divide it up into each of the players. Um,
Mhm.
so only 3 of these teams will be running for the money. The other 4 will not. So once we know round 4 next week, we will know who the top 3 teams are going into Friday. Next Friday will be the semifinals. That is going to be your best of 5, and then your finals is going to be a best of 7, with
Oof.
no reset. So, with that said, I am very, very happy with all the teams today. Did a very fantastic hashtag Team Drip, taking it all the way up to round 3 as well. Team Rocketo giving everybody for a run for their money. Um, yeah. Anything I could say? Anything left for you 2 guys before we go ahead and cast it out?
I'm just about to send us off, but I really want to get the thoughts on Reiku being the first time they actually cast in the United World Coronation League. Just, wherever we can follow you and whatever you want to say, the floor is yours.
I gotta say, I've casted other events as well, but um, the event that I put on, the Protect the President invitational tournament that I put on, it applied like a really interesting rule set. And when I see what you guys are putting together with the interesting rule set of the 3 to 4 bans that each team gets, I think that really forces these players to dig deep in their versatility with their characters that they can use. And it adds a new spice to the mix that is Pokemon Unite. And so any chance that I get to see these types of rule sets really shine, and you guys are doing it so well. So big kudos to all the casters that are part of this league and to also the organizers as well. You guys can rest well knowing that your league is doing such a great job.
Let's go.
Yeah. At least from an outsider's perspective, having a new set of fresh eyes that I'm giving to you guys. I hope you guys continue to do what you're doing, because what you're doing is really cool.
Awesome.
We greatly appreciate what Reiku's words mean so much to us who have been, putting in the work for these past 10 weeks and now going into playoffs. Next week is going to be banger after banger after a banger because we finally have our top 4 in the Unite World Coronation League. So, Rhino, send us off.
Thank you guys very much for hanging out, chilling out, and I am Rhino Gaming. That was Dreikusan, and